Chapter 333. Prison. When Qin Feiyang arrived at the plaza, the rage in his heart erupted like a volcano, uncontrollable. He raised his head and looked at the stone tower. When he saw the guard captain standing in front of the stone tower, his eyes flashed with a cold light. At the same time, the guard captain also noticed Qin Feiyang, and a trace of joy appeared on his face. It's finally here. Finally a chance. Wei Zhongyang had already told him everything. As long as he had this information, this person would definitely obediently hand over the dagger. However, when he saw Wang Hong, who was traveling with him, his expression changed again. Why would Wang Hong come with Qin Feiyang? No. Whether it was Wang Hong, Qin Feiyang, or Fatso and Ruffian Lang, they all had a strange expression. They seemed to be coming aggressively. At the same time, when a wide-faced guard standing behind the guard captain saw Fatso, his eyes flashed with an inexplicable light. Fatso rushed forward and shouted at the guard captain, "Open the door immediately." The guard captain raised his eyebrows and looked at Wang Hong. Wang Hong said, "Take us to see Yan Nanshan." What? They're here to see Yan Nanshan. The guard captain's heart trembled, and a trace of panic appeared in his eyes. He had just given Yan Nanshan a good beating yesterday. His injuries had not healed yet. If he went in now and was seen by Wang Hong, he would definitely be held responsible. Fatso shouted coldly, "Don't you have ears? Hurry up and open the door." The guard captain's eyes trembled. He took out a token and turned around to open the door. Trembling with fear, he led the group to Yan Nanshan's cell. It was worth mentioning that, before entering the castle, Fatso glanced at the wide-faced guard. Both of them had a strange smile on their faces. How could this be? Why would they come to see Yan Nanshan at this time? The guard captain stood in front of the cell, extremely panicked. He put his hand in his chest, but couldn't find the key to open the stone door. Wang Hong frowned, "Do you need me to help you find the key?" No. I found it." The guard captain shook his head repeatedly. He took out the pentagram key and embedded it in the indentation on the stone door. Yet his arm was trembling. Two people and one wolf looked at each other, and their eyes couldn't help but emit a cold light. Clang! The stone door finally opened. Yan Nanshan entered their sight. At this moment, he was unconscious. His entire body was a mess of flesh and blood. Not a single part of his body was intact. He simply didn't look like a human. Qin Feiyang ran into the prison cell and checked on Yan Nanshan's injuries. He turned his head and roared at the guard captain, "What happened?" The guard captain shook his head and said, "I don't know either. Maybe he took things too hard and hurt himself." Self-harm? Fatso sneered. This person was very cunning. If he didn't have any evidence, he probably couldn't do anything to him. Clang! Qin Feiyang took out the changshui and cut off the iron shackles. The guard captain raised his brow and shouted, "Qin Feiyang, what are you doing?" He turned to look at Wang Hong and said angrily, "Commander Wang, look at him. He's way too reckless. He doesn't care about the rules of the prison at all." "Shut up." Wang Hong frowned. If Qin Feiyang dared to cut off the iron shackles in front of him, it meant that he had already obtained his tacit approval. If he couldn't even think of that, was he brainless? Without the shackles, the battle chi in Yan Nanshan's body awakened and started recovering on its own. The reason why Yan Nanshan's injuries could not recover was because the god of gravity metal could restrain battle chi. Qin Feiyang gave Yan Nanshan a supreme-grade healing elixir. Soon, his injuries recovered. A few hundred breaths later, Yan Nanshan finally woke up. He raised his head and looked at Qin Feiyang. Then, he looked at the Wolf King and Fatso beside him and whispered, "I'm not dead yet." His voice was weak and hoarse. Wolf King chuckled. With us around, you can't die even if you want to. You can talk now. Yan Nanshan was surprised. Not only can I talk, but I can also change my size. Look. Wolf King shook his body and instantly turned into the size of a palm. He jumped up and down as if he was showing off to an elder. He was rather cute. Yan Nanshan was a little dazed. He glanced at the two men and the wolf and smiled. Thank you, but I'm fine now. You don't have to come and visit me every now and then. Who said we're here to visit you? We're here to take you out. Furthermore, how are you fine now? Fatso rolled his eyes. However, there was a cold glint in his eyes. Take me out. Yan Nanshan was stunned. The Imperial bodyguard captain turned pale with fright. Didn't they say that Yan Nanshan would only be released after a year? Why was he released now? If Yan Nanshan was allowed to leave the prison alive, he would definitely cause endless trouble in the future. Really? After Yan Nanshan came back to his senses, he looked at Qin Feiyang and asked. Qin Feiyang nodded. Yes, this is an order from the Academy Lord himself. I can finally get out, Yan Nanshan murmured. He was in disbelief and felt like he was dreaming. However, the guard captain's heart was in turmoil. The Academy Lord had given the order personally. It was over. It was completely over now. Yan Nanshan was stronger than him. When Yan Nanshan was released, he would definitely be the first to find trouble with him. Qin Feiyang helped Yan Nanshan up and turned to look at the guard captain, sneering, Are you afraid now? The guard captain panicked. I didn't do anything wrong. What's there to be afraid of? Qin Feiyang said, Fatso, show him. All right. Fatso took out an image crystal and an image appeared rapidly. How is that possible? Why do you have this? The guard captain was dumbfounded and looked at Fatso in bewilderment. Don't do it unless you don't want others to know. Even the Academy Lord knows about what you've done. Tell me, what consequences will you face next? Fatso sneered. The guard captain trembled and looked at Wang Hong hurriedly. Commander Wang, listen to my explanation. Yan Nanshan was the one who spoke arrogantly. In a fit of anger, I tortured him. Enough. Wang Hong shouted coldly. Thud. The guard captain knelt on the ground and begged, Commander Wang, I'm telling the truth. Please investigate. If you admit your mistake, I'll be lenient. However, you've disappointed me. Until now, you're still stubborn. You deserve to die. Wang Hong's eyes were filled with killing intent. Commander, you can't kill me. The guard captain retreated hurriedly. At the same time, he took out an image crystal and looked at Qin Feiyang. I know everything about you. Give me a portal immediately. Otherwise, I'll tell everyone about you. He knew that he would not be able to escape today, so he could only escape from the city to save his life. How dare you? Qin Feiyang's background is forbidden by the Academy Lord's order. If you dare to tell anyone, not only will you die, but your family head will also die. Wang Hong was furious. The Academy Lord again. The guard captain's body trembled. Just who was this guy? Why was the Academy Lord so concerned about him? Fat Lord already knew that you wanted to use this to blackmail us. Unfortunately, you're too naive. Let's not talk about the Academy Lord first. Even if you tell everyone, it won't hurt us. On the contrary, it'll only make us more famous and make the Lu family and the other families more afraid of us. Fatso shook his head, his eyes filled with sarcasm. The guard captain murmured, then everything I've done will be in vain. Whoosh! At this moment, with a single step, Wang Hong landed in front of the guard captain. With lightning speed, he crushed the image crystal in his hand. The guard captain trembled and knelt on the ground again. He begged, "Commander, please spare my life. I was wrong. I'll change. You only have one chance." Wang Hong extended his index finger and pointed at the guard captain's forehead. "Sir, wait." Yan Nanshan suddenly said. Wang Hong frowned. Yan Nanshan cupped his hands and said, "I want to fight with the guard captain. Please allow me." "No." Fatso and Wolf King hurriedly said. Yan Nanshan was seriously injured and his mental state was not good. He could not use his full strength. Even if his cultivation level was higher than the guard captain's, he would not be at an advantage. Qin Feiyang thought for a while and nodded. "I agree." Wolf King said angrily, "Little Qin Zi, are you crazy?" Qin Feiyang said, "He has tortured the temple master for so long. It's best for the temple master to end his life." Yan Nanshan had his pride. After being bullied for so long, he was full of resentment. If he did not vent it now, he would not be satisfied for the rest of his life. But, Wolf King still wanted to say something. Yan Nanshan waved his hand and said, "Don't worry. Even if I can't use my full strength, I can still trample him under my feet." The guard captain said, "How arrogant. Fine, I'll fight with you. If I win, you'll let me go." "You can't win." Yan Nanshan shook his head, his entire body exuding an unparalleled confidence. The old Yan Nanshan was back. Wang Hong thought for a while and said, "Okay, let's go to the square outside." He also wanted to see how much potential Yan Nanshan had. They walked out of the ancient tower. "It's been a long time since I saw the sun." Yan Nanshan stood on the stone stairs and looked up at the sky. He felt like a lifetime had passed. Swoosh! The guard captain took a step forward and landed at a corner of the square. His aura exploded. He was a 7-star combat emperor. "Come on, I'll show you the difference between you and me." He looked up at Yan Nanshan with provocation in his eyes. "Is that so?" Yan Nanshan retracted his gaze and looked down. Qin Feiyang said, "Palace Master, open your mouth." Yan Nanshan was stunned. He was confused, but he did not ask. His cracked lips opened slightly. Qin Feiyang secretly took out a battle chi pill with 2 veins. He held it in his hand and stuffed it into Yan Nanshan's mouth at lightning speed. "This is," Yan Nanshan was shocked. Although he did not see it, he knew it was a battle chi pill when it entered his mouth. But this energy was too majestic. It kept flowing into his chi si. The battle chi that he had lost was quickly replenished. Qin Feiyang said with a smile, "I'll explain it to you after we get rid of that guy." "Okay." Yan Nanshan nodded. "I'll make you pay for the humiliation I've suffered." Chapter 334. Tiger subduing battle fist. The captain waved his hands and his battle chi surged forward like a torrent. A giant fist instantly appeared out of nowhere, emitting a shocking aura as it headed straight for Yan Nanshan town. Above the giant fist, there was a giant tiger that was faintly discernible. It looked extremely savage. Battle art. Qin Feiyang's pupils constricted. Humph. Yan Nanshan snorted and pointed his index finger in the air. A bright flame shot out. Fire wave burns the world. The fiery glow transformed into a giant wave that covered the heavens and earth as it collided with the giant fist. Boom! At that moment, an earth-shattering sound exploded in the air above the square. Puff! The captain spat out a mouthful of blood. However, Yan Nanshan's face was only slightly pale. The outcome was decided in one move. How could this be? How can his battle chi still be so abundant after being imprisoned for so long? Even with the battle chi pill, he can't recover so quickly. The captain's pupils constricted and he could not believe it. He did not know that Qin Feiyang had given Yan Nanshan a battle chi pill with 2 veins. The energy it contained was several times more than a normal battle chi pill. This was the reason why Qin Feiyang supported Yan Nanshan. He was confident that he could restore Yan Nanshan's strength to its peak in a short period of time. Is this all you've got? That's all you've got. Yan Nanshan's eyes were filled with disdain. He took a step forward and clenched his fist. Why are you so arrogant? The captain was furious. Clang! A pitch-black broadsword that was more than 10 meters long flew out from behind him and slashed towards Yan Nanshan with lightning speed. This was his fighting soul. However, Yan Nanshan did not panic at all in the face of this sudden change. Chirp! A fire eagle soared into the sky, its sharp beak crushing the fighting soul like it was made of rotten wood. At the same time, Yan Nanshan punched the captain's chest. Ah! The guard captain let out a blood-curdling scream as he was sent flying. His entire chest caved in. Fresh blood stained the sky. I have the right to be arrogant. Do you? If it wasn't for the fact that I'm guilty, I would have killed you when you humiliated me back then. Yan Nanshan was seething with anger. Like a divine rainbow, he quickly caught up with the captain and stomped his foot on the captain's lower abdomen. Crack! Bang! The guard captain let out a miserable howl. His chi was crushed by the foot, and he fell to the ground, blood spurting out of his mouth. Yan Nanshan landed on the ground as well. His right foot stepped on the chest of the guard captain. He looked down at the guard captain and said coldly, "You dare to boast that you can defeat me?" Above his head, the fire eagle circled in the air, ferocious. At this moment, even though Yan Nanshan was disheveled and covered in blood, he was like a god of war that had descended into the world with an unparalleled domineering aura. On the other hand, the captain of the guards was battered and exhausted. He glared at Yan Nanshan with eyes full of resentment. "Ha!" Wolf King laughed loudly and ran to Yan Nanshan's side. He said with admiration, "Hall Master, you're still as sharp as ever." Yan Nanshan smiled and shook his head, "I'm no longer the Hall Master of the Martial Imperial Palace. Don't call me that anymore. Just call me by my name." Wolf King laughed and looked at the captain of the guard sneakily, "Little worm, do you know how powerful I am now?" The captain of the guards wore a ferocious expression and roared, "Bastard, fight me one-on-one if you dare. Is there something wrong with your head?" Wolf King looked at him strangely. A combat emperor was challenging a martial emperor. How could he be so shameless? "Come, open your mouth wider. I'll give you the holy water. I guarantee it can repair your chi and heart. You'll be able to turn over a new leaf and trample Yan Nanshan under your feet." The Wolf King smirked. Holy water. Yan Nanshan and the captain of the guards were slightly startled. Wang Hong was also very confused. He asked, "Qin Feiyang, what is holy water?" Qin Feiyang's face twitched. He hesitated and said, "This is hard to explain. Senior will know when you continue watching. Brother Wolf is indeed shameless." Fatso cursed at the side. Wolf King said impatiently, "Do you want the holy water or not? If you don't open your mouth, don't say that I'm not helping you. You're that kind." The captain of the guards didn't believe him. This wolf was obviously with Yan Nanshan. How could he help him? Wolf King said disdainfully, "It's fine if you don't believe me. My holy water is very precious. I can't bear to give it to you. I want it, I want it." The captain of the guards hurriedly said and opened his mouth wide. Wolf King said, "It's not big enough." Hearing this, the captain of the guards was so angry that an egg could be stuffed into his mouth. "That's right." Wolf King nodded. The wolf's bell-sized eyes were filled with a sinister smile. He opened his thigh and a stream of water shot out into the captain's mouth. Ugh! Everyone was stunned. This was the so-called holy water. That was too shameless of him. The captain of the guards was also stunned. Then, he became furious and roared, "Bastard, I'm going to kill you." His roar didn't matter, but he swallowed all the holy water into his stomach. Ugh! He retched on the spot. Wolf King was puzzled. This is genuine holy water. Why does it taste so bad? Puff! The captain of the guards was so angry that he spat out a mouthful of blood. "I'm going to kill you." He raised his hand and grabbed at Wolf King. Although his chi was destroyed and he couldn't use battle chi, the captain of the guards was still a combat emperor. His strength alone was enough to kill Wolf King, who was only a 3-star combat king. But Yan Nanshan wouldn't give him the chance. One had to know that he had always treated Qin Feiyang and the Wolf King as his own juniors and had always doted on them. His index finger shot out and a battle chi shot into the captain's forehead. Blood spurted out. The captain of the guards died on the spot. "Kill him." The guards at the entrance of the prison were dumbfounded. Although the captain of the guards was at fault, he was still a 7-star combat emperor. He was one of the core forces of the spiritual state. How could he be killed just like that? Most importantly, Commander Wang Hong only frowned and did not reprimand Yan Nanshan. "Yan Nanshan, don't go back to the county of Yan. Follow Qin Feiyang to the Holy Palace. I have to report back. I'll take my leave." After saying this, Wang Hong transformed into a stream of light and tore through the sky. "Go to the Holy Palace?" Yan Nanshan was stunned. His face was full of suspicion. Wolf King chuckled, "It's the palace lord's arrangement for you to work at the Holy Palace. Of course, it's also our contribution. Don't forget to thank us." Yan Nanshan's body trembled. During his time in the prison, he heard the captain of the guards mention the Holy Palace. It was the holy land of cultivation in the spiritual state. If it was before, he wouldn't even dare to think about it. The guards were also in disbelief. They had just been released and they were assigned to work at the Holy Palace. This had never happened before. It was obvious that these people were not simple. The broad-faced guard walked to Fatso and smiled, "Brother Fatty, I didn't expect you to have such a good relationship with the palace lord. Please take care of us in the future." Of course, of course." Fatso laughed proudly and said to Qin Feiyang, "Boss, let me introduce you. He's Fan Jian. He's the one who helped Fat Lord get the evidence." Despicable. Qin Feiyang was stunned. How could there be such a weird name? Fan Jian said awkwardly, "Young Master Qin, it's not despicable. It's Fan Jian. Fan as in regulation, Jian as in construction." Qin Feiyang's face twitched. This person's parents really knew how to name. He quickly took out 100 million gold coins and put it in a Qianquan bag. He cupped his hands and smiled, "Thank you for your help, Brother Fan. This is a small token of my appreciation. I hope you don't mind." "No, no." Fan Jian hurriedly waved his hand and happily put away the Qianquan bag. 100 million. Although he had the cultivation of a war emperor, he had no status or background. To him, this was an astronomical number. Qin Feiyang smiled, "Then we'll take our leave first. Let's have a good gathering when we have time." Okay. Fan Jian nodded. Although he had a broad face, his nose and eyes were small. He looked extremely wretched, almost comparable to Fatso. It was no wonder that Fatso was able to bribe him so easily. It turned out that they were birds of a feather. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and opened a teleportation door. After Wolf King and Yan Nanshan came over, they walked in one after another. Soon, a group of people appeared in front of the reception hall. "This is the sacred palace." Yan Nanshan looked around and was filled with emotions. He had thought that he would never be able to get out of the prison, but he did not expect that he would be able to enter this cultivation holy land. It could be considered a blessing in disguise. Wang Hong had already greeted the Grand Hall Master of the Sacred Palace, and the Grand Hall Master had also instructed him. So, when Qin Feiyang brought Yan Nanshan into the main hall and found Zhou Dong and Zhou Shi, the two of them directly gave their identity token to Yan Nanshan. Moreover, he even arranged a fat job for Yan Nanshan. Replacing Luan, he was in charge of the resource hall. As for Fatso, after revealing his cultivation and age, he did not take the examination and directly became a disciple of the Sacred Palace. However, in order to compete for Fatso, the brothers Zhou Dong and Zhou Shi quarreled again. Although Fatso looked wretched, no one could deny his extraordinary talent. He was definitely a good seedling. However, Fatso and Lu Hong made the same choice. Wherever Qin Feiyang went, he would go. For this, Zhou Shi had complained a lot about Qin Feiyang. After sending Yan Nanshan to the resource hall, Qin Feiyang brought Wolf King and Fatso back to the second alchemy room. Damn, this alchemy room is too big. As soon as Fatso entered the alchemy room, he was shocked by the scene in front of him. Qin Feiyang called Fatso to the lounge inside. Fatso, there is something we have to tell you now. What is it? Fatso frowned. Hearing this tone, he knew that it was not a good thing. Qin Feiyang said, Lu Hong's cultivation has been crippled. What? Fatso had just sat down when he suddenly stood up and said, why didn't you tell Fat Lord earlier? Qin Feiyang said, we don't want to distract you, but the person who harmed her has already been killed by us. Fatso said angrily, fuck, just kill them. Quickly tell Fat Lord is going to dig up their ancestral graves. Don't be agitated, don't be agitated. Chapter 335. After Qin Feiyang finished speaking and learned about the fate of Jing Chuan and the other man, the anger in the fatty's heart subsided by quite a bit. Next. In order to prevent Fatso and Wolf King from fooling around outside, Qin Feiyang sent them into the castle and let them focus on their cultivation. After refining tens of thousands of battle chi pills, Qin Feiyang also entered the castle and continued to copy the third stroke of the battle formula. Half a month later, the third stroke was finally completed. His cultivation had also broken through to the 4-star battle monarch. Wolf King and Fatso had also broken through. Wolf King was a 4-star battle monarch, while Fatso was a 2-star battle monarch. As for Lu Hong, it was even more exaggerated. She had soared like a rocket and had now recovered to a 1-star martial ancestor. On this day, Qin Feiyang left the castle and walked out of the alchemy room. Seeing that the stone doors of alchemy room number 3 and 4 were tightly shut, he could not help but be stunned. Just at this moment, the stone doors opened. Xiao Hong and Dong Qing walked out of the 2 alchemy rooms one after another. When they saw Qin Feiyang, they could not help but be stunned. Qin Feiyang asked doubtfully, aren't you two kneeling outside? Their faces twitched. The 1 month that Elder Lu had set had already passed. Asking such a question now was simply a slap to their faces. Qin Feiyang immediately thought of it and said with a smile, sorry, I was too focused on my cultivation and forgot the time. It's okay. The two shook their heads. Even if they had resentment in their hearts, they could only hold it in now. Qin Feiyang said again, by the way, how is Lu Ziyuan? The two of them were angry again. This bastard was definitely doing it on purpose. Xiao Hong said, we don't know either. Dong Qing shook his head and said, we haven't contacted him during this period. Qin Feiyang asked doubtfully, aren't you two very close? Why don't you care about him? I say, why are you like this? Xiao Hong and the other man were so angry that they glared at him. He clearly knew that they and Lu Ziyuan were just using each other, yet he still said such words. Wasn't this clearly making them look bad? Hee hee. Qin Feiyang smiled embarrassedly, turned around and prepared to jump down from the patio. But suddenly, He glanced at alchemy rooms 5 to 10, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. The 6 young men and women with level 9 mental strength had humiliated him in the past, and he had never forgotten that. He turned his head to look at Xiao Hong and the other man, and said with a smile, "How about we make a deal?" "What deal?" The two of them looked at him warily. "This bastard must be up to something again. Don't worry, I won't harm you this time." Qin Feiyang pointed at alchemy rooms 5 to 10 and said with a faint smile, "As long as you help me teach them a lesson, we'll write off our old debts." Xiao Hong and the other man looked at each other and raised their eyebrows. This bastard was simply using them as cannon fodder. Dong Qing shook his head and said, "No, Elder Lu is very strict now. If we touch them, we will definitely be punished by Elder Lu. It seems that you intend to continue to be my enemy. I guess, soon you will become the next Lu Ziyuan." Qin Feiyang shook his head regretfully. The two of them panicked and hurriedly said, "Wait, we'll do it, we'll do it. That's right. We'll be friends in the future, and we'll take care of each other." Qin Feiyang said with a fake smile. "Yes, yes, yes. It's our honor to be friends with senior brother Qin." The two of them nodded repeatedly, but they didn't take it seriously. They didn't dare to be friends with this person. If they were sold one day, they would probably help count the money. "Senior brother Qin, there are rumors outside that the red fire glass tree and potential elixir auctioned at Treasure Pavilion were made by you. Is this true?" Dong Cheng asked curiously. Qin Feiyang said with a smile, "If I tell you that I made it, will you immediately announce it?" The two of them were shocked. He saw through their motives immediately. Why was this person so difficult to deal with? "No, no. We're just curious." "Yes, just curious." The two of them laughed. Qin Feiyang sneered secretly and shook his head. "To be honest, I didn't make those elixirs. I'm also wondering who could be so powerful. It's not Qin Feiyang. Then who? Could it really be Murong Jing as the Lu family guest?" The two of them were secretly surprised. "Well, I have something to do, so I'll leave first. Then I'll have to trouble you to take care of the 6 of them." Qin Feiyang smiled and leaped up. He landed at the bottom of the patio and strode outside. After watching Qin Feiyang leave, Dong Qing frowned and looked at Xiao Hong. "What should we do?" Xiao Hong said angrily, "What else can we do? He's the boss now. We can only do as he says." Dong Qing said worriedly, "If Elder Lu finds out, we'll be in trouble. Isn't it easy to deal with those 6 idiots?" Xiao Hong said disdainfully. Dong Qing nodded and smiled. "That's true. Any excuse is enough to make them suffer." The resource hall. "Senior brother Qin, you're here." As soon as Qin Feiyang walked in, Zhang Jin went to greet him. This person was now a prominent figure in the holy sanctum. He had to curry favor with him. Qin Feiyang asked with a smile, "Where's Elder Yen?" Zhang Jin said, "He's on the 2nd floor. I'll take you up." Qin Feiyang waved his hand. "No need. You continue with your work. I'll go up by myself." "That's fine." Zhang Jin nodded. He seemed to have something to say. Qin Feiyang looked at him suspiciously and asked, "What's the matter?" Zhang Jin said with a flattering smile, "To tell you the truth, senior brother Qin, I've recently collected a set of herbs for the red fire glaze pill. I want you to help me refine it." Qin Feiyang shook his head and laughed. "That's not a problem. Give me the herbs. I'll have someone send them to you tomorrow." "No, no, I'll get it myself." Zhang Jin hurriedly took out a set of herbs and handed it to Qin Feiyang. He asked, "What about the reward?" "It's not easy for you. Forget about the reward." Qin Feiyang smiled, put away the herbs, and walked to the 2nd floor alone. "Thank you, senior brother Qin." Zhang Jin hurriedly cupped his hands and thanked him. Senior brother Qin is really a good person. Yes, unlike Lu Ziyuan and the others, who are all as proud as roosters. If only I could marry senior brother Qin. In your dreams. Senior brother Qin is not only handsome, but also talented in alchemy and martial arts. Will he take a fancy to you? I'm afraid only Murong Jing and Dongfang Yu are worthy of him. Many disciples were buying things in the resource hall. After witnessing the whole process, they couldn't help but whisper. Dongfang Yu. Qin Feiyang was slightly taken aback. What kind of monster was this? At this moment, Yan Nanshan walked out of a room and smiled. Feiyang, you're here. Qin Feiyang walked up the stairs and smiled. Greetings, Elder Yan. Brat. Yan Nanshan scolded with a smile and led Qin Feiyang into the room. It turned out that this was a cultivation room. It was a little smaller than the second alchemy room. Although it was small, it had all the essentials. Qin Feiyang smiled. Senior, are you used to this place? Yan Nanshan said, we cultivators are the same everywhere. Don't call me senior anymore. If you don't mind, call me uncle. I'm happy. Why would I mind? Qin Feiyang took out a jade box from his bosom and handed it to Yan Nanshan. He smiled and said, Uncle Yan, this is for you. What is it? Yan Nanshan took it and looked at him in confusion. Qin Feiyang said, open it and you'll know. Yan Nanshan opened the jade box, and a brownish-yellow pill appeared in front of him. What kind of pill is this? Why haven't I seen it before? Yan Nanshan was surprised. This is a 9-chew yellow dragon pill. Qin Feiyang explained a little. There's such a pill in this world. Yan Nanshan was dumbstruck. Qin Feiyang said, hurry up and take it. It might allow you to break through the War Emperor realm and step into the War Master realm in one go. War Master. Yan Nanshan's gaze trembled as he took out the 9-chew yellow dragon pill and placed it in his mouth. Time passed breath by breath. Boom. Suddenly, Yan Nanshan's aura soared. In the blink of an eye, it soared to the 9-star War Emperor. However, his aura did not stop and was still rising. But in the end, he did not break through to the 1-star War Master and stopped between the 9-star War Emperor and the 1-star War Master. As expected, only the War Chief and the War Emperor are effective. Qin Feiyang muttered. Yan Nanshan took another step forward and became a War Master. Although the 9-chew yellow dragon pill was heaven-defying, it was still unable to allow him to directly break through to the War Master. However, it was certain that Yan Nanshan could break through at any time. As expected, Yan Nanshan took a few battle chi pills and cultivated for a while. His aura once again soared and he stepped into the 1-star War Master. I actually broke through to the War Master. Yan Nanshan felt as if he was dreaming. Shwa! All of a sudden, he quivered, stood up and grabbed Qin Feiyang's shoulder, and said, if it wasn't for you, I'm afraid it would have taken me a few hundred years to step into the War Master, and I might not even have any hope of doing so in my entire life. Brat, thank you. Qin Feiyang said in dissatisfaction, why are you being so polite to me? Ugh. Yan Nanshan was startled, then laughed, right, with a brat like you, there's no need for me to be polite. Qin Feiyang couldn't help but feel helpless. Oh right, is a 9-chew yellow dragon pill with 2 pill veins the same as a scarlet fire glass pill, able to increase by 3 small realms? Yan Nanshan asked. There's a difference between it and the scarlet fire glass pill. Qin Feiyang shook his head. An ordinary scarlet fire glass pill could increase one's cultivation by 1 small realm. But an ordinary 9-chew yellow dragon pill only had a 50% success rate. Only a 9-chew yellow dragon pill with 1 pill vein could increase one's cultivation by 1 small realm. 2 pill veins could increase one's cultivation by 2 small realms. After all, War Master and War Emperor were no longer comparable to Martial Master and Martial Sect. The energy required far exceeded that of Martial Master and Martial Sect. So it's like that. Yan Nanshan suddenly realized and laughed, but this is already very shocking. If we take it to the auction, it will definitely cause a crazy fight. Qin Feiyang said, I can't bear to sell the 9 Chu Yellow Dragon pill, Uncle Yen, you have to help me keep it a secret. Yan Nanshan waved his hand and said, you don't have to tell me, I know. If this news were to spread, all the big shots in the spiritual state would probably come to Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang said with a smile, then Uncle Yen, help me prepare some herbs for the battle chi pill. Chapter 336. Qin Feiyang thought for a while and said, I want all of them. Ah. Yan Nanshan was stunned and asked, why do you need so many battle chi pills? Qin Feiyang smiled and said, Wolf King and the others need battle chi pills now, so I have to prepare more. Yan Nanshan smiled bitterly. If he wanted all of them, what about the other disciples? Wasn't he afraid of causing public anger? Okay, I'll go get them for you. Yan Nanshan got up and strode out. It's convenient to have my own people in the resource hall. Qin Feiyang muttered. If it was someone else today, they would definitely not agree. Buzz. Suddenly. The image crystal moved. Qin Feiyang took it out and poured his battle chi into it. A shadow appeared. It was Huang San. Qin Feiyang asked, how's the Lu family? Although he had been in seclusion to copy the battle formula for the past half a month, before he went into seclusion, he asked Huang San to help him inquire about the news. The Lu family is not only low-key now, but also very honest. And what's more strange is that the disciples of the Lu family go out every day to do good deeds. Senior brother Qin, do you think they are crazy? Huang San was puzzled. Crazy? Qin Feiyang was stunned and said with a smile, it should be. He couldn't tell Huang San that this was the masterpiece of the Mansion Master. If the Lu family didn't do this, they would never be able to lift the ban. There's one more thing. A few days ago, Xiao Hong and Dong Cheng came to find me. They asked me if the red fire glass pill and potential pill were refined by you. And they even tempted me. As long as I told the truth, they would give me an ordinary red fire glass pill. Am I, Huang San, the kind of person who is greedy for small gains? So, I didn't say anything. But senior brother Qin, did you refine it or not? Huang San asked suspiciously. No. Qin Feiyang shook his head. Towards this Huang San, he did not dare to pour out his heart and lungs. Because Huang San was a greedy person, who knew when he would sell him. However, judging from the current situation, Xiao Hong and his companion were still very dishonest. Huang San was also very puzzled. The medicinal pill that Qin Feiyang gave him last time allowed him to break through 3 minor realms at once. Didn't this match perfectly with the scarlet-colored glass pill with 2 pill veins? But Qin Feiyang denied it, so he didn't dare to continue asking. Qin Feiyang asked, how many gold coins did the potential pellet and scarlet fire-colored glass pellet sell for? The final price of the red fire-colored glass pill is above 1 billion. The potential pill is even more amazing. Both of them were auctioned for more than 10 billion. If these pills were mine, I'd be rich. Huang San said excitedly. So high. Qin Feiyang was dumbfounded. This was too exaggerated. It was completely out of his expectations. Counting it, he had more than 200 sets of potential pill medicinal ingredients on him. If he were to auction them all, even if they were to be sold for 10 billion each, it would still be more than 20 billion. Not to mention the even more valuable Juku Yellow Dragon pill and potential pill. If they were to be added together, their value would be immeasurable. However, the capital was only 10 billion, and the profit was more than 1,000 times. It's a waste of talent if I don't do business. After turning off the image crystal, Qin Feiyang couldn't help but laugh narcissistically. This time, even if he used the teleportation gate every day, he wouldn't be afraid. Because he had money. What are you laughing at? Why are you laughing so happily? At this time, Yan Nanshan walked in with 2 Qianquan bag. Nothing. Qin Feiyang shook his head and asked, how many do you have? Yan Nanshan laughed, they're all here, a total of 500,000. That's not enough. Qin Feiyang frowned. What? Yan Nanshan almost staggered and fell down. One had to know that 500,000 potential pills were enough for 50 to 60 people to cultivate from war king to war emperor. But this little fellow still thought that it was too little. Did he really need so many battle chi pills just to cultivate? Did he need so many for cultivation? This stinking brat is really unfathomable. Yan Nanshan muttered to himself and laughed, use it first, wait for me to buy a batch and get someone to send it to you. All right. Qin Feiyang nodded and asked, then the price? Yan Nanshan said, we have to be clear about public and private matters. The market price of a medicinal ingredient is 10,000 gold coins, so 500,000 sets, a total of 5 billion, not a single copper coin less. So expensive? Qin Feiyang's eyes widened. One had to know that a chi-gathering pill was only 2 gold coins. And this was the price of a finished pill. If it was just medicinal ingredients, it would be half of the price. Of course, he knew that the price of a battle chi pill was not cheap, but 10,000 for a single medicinal ingredient, wasn't that too outrageous? Fortunately, he had money now. Otherwise, he could only stare at it helplessly. After counting out 5 billion gold coins and handing it over to Yan Nanshan, Qin Feiyang left the resource hall. Although he did not lack money, he still could not help but feel his heart ache. During those 5 years in Iron Ox Town, he was really scared of being poor. An hour later, a stone pagoda entered Qin Feiyang's line of sight. The stone pagoda was more than 10 meters tall and had a total of 4 floors. It was as black as ink and emitted an ancient aura. Above the door of the pagoda, there were 4 grand words engraved. Martial Arts Treasury. Qin Feiyang found an empty corner and called Fatso and Wolf King out. Martial Arts Treasury. Seeing the ancient pagoda, the man and the wolf's spirits were lifted. Fatso laughed, Brother Wolf, don't be happy too early, there might not be any battle arts that you can cultivate in there. Do you believe that I won't tear your crow's mouth apart? Wolf King glared fiercely. Fatso pursed his lips, Fat Lord is just telling the truth, so that you can be mentally prepared in advance. Get lost. Wolf King roared angrily. If there really isn't, see how I'll torture you damn Fatso. Suddenly, Fatso seemed to have discovered something, looked up at the winding path across and exclaimed, wow, a beauty. Qin Feiyang followed his gaze and a flash of surprise flashed across his eyes. Look at you guys, I'm not good enough, I'm more beautiful than Ren Girl and the Mermaid Princess. Wolf King looked at the two of them with disdain. However, when it looked over, its eyes suddenly widened and exclaimed, damn, it's really a beauty. On the winding path, a woman in a black dress was walking slowly. She was about 1.75 meters tall and looked about 22 or 23 years old. Her skin was tender and supple, and her tall and slender figure was curvaceous. Her beautiful black hair fluttered in the wind. Her big eyes were bright and clear, like a pool of spring water, full of ethereal air. Next to her was a young man in black, with a dignified appearance, extraordinary temperament, and unfathomable aura. He could be called a handsome man. The two of them walked side by side, talking and laughing, as if they were talking about love. They should be a pair of lovers. Qin Feiyang muttered and turned to look at Fatso. His face suddenly appeared. This damn fatso, his saliva was dripping to the ground. Hey, 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 come back to your senses. No matter how beautiful she is, she's still someone else's. It has nothing to do with you. Qin Feiyang said helplessly. Alas. Such a good cabbage was eaten by a pig, it's really unfair. Fatso looked up at the sky and lamented. Qin Feiyang's face darkened and said angrily, can you be careful? Are you afraid that they can't hear you? Fat Lord thinks it's unfair. Boss, look, although Fat Lord is fat, his facial features are still very good. He can be considered a handsome man in Fatso's world. Tell me, why is there no woman who likes Master Fatty? Fatso couldn't figure it out. Qin Feiyang also couldn't figure out why this damn Fatso was so shameless. Handsome man. He really didn't know how he had the courage to say such a thing. The best in Fatso's world was very suitable for this bastard. As for handsome men, they were not even close. Qin Feiyang shook his head and walked quickly toward the ancient tower. Fatso, I'm not trying to discourage you, but you really should go and look in the mirror and reflect. Wolf King chuckled and chased after Qin Feiyang. Is Fat Lord not handsome? Fat Lord knows. You must be jealous of Fat Lord's handsomeness, so you want to discourage Fat Lord. Fatty chased after him and stroked his chin in a self-satisfied manner. He even shook his head coolly. I'm convinced. Qin Feiyang sighed. I'm convinced too, I have to be convinced. Wolf King shook his head and said. Fatso's face darkened, and he roared at the man and the wolf in dissatisfaction, what do you mean? If you continue like this, Fat Lord will be angry. The man and woman on the opposite side of the path turned to look at Fatso. The young man in black raised his eyebrows and said angrily, damn fat pig, are we in your way? Why are you angry? Ah. Fatso was stunned. Wolf King and Qin Feiyang were also a little stunned. There was a misunderstanding now. The man and woman must have thought that Fatso was yelling at them. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, sorry, Fatso is talking to us, not you. Is that so, then forget it. Lower your voice in the future, lest you attract trouble. The young man in black said coldly. Aya. Fat Lord has a bad temper. The fatty let out a strange cry and said, do your parents know that you're so awesome? Fat Lord likes to talk loudly, so what? Bite me. The young man in black stopped, turned to look at Fatso, and said in a deep voice, I dare you to say that again, if I don't cripple you, I will take your surname. So arrogant? Qin Feiyang and Wolf King were stunned. So what if Fat Lord said it? Is it in your way? Is the holy sanctum yours? What can you do about what I want to say? Fatso said disdainfully. The young man in black clenched his fists, and his eyes were filled with anger. Whoosh! He took a step forward, crossed more than 10 meters, and landed in front of Fatso, and punched out without hesitation. Io, you really want to fight? Fatso screamed and hid behind Qin Feiyang, took out an image crystal, and was ready to record it. You are courting death. The young man in black was already furious, and when he saw Fatso take out the image crystal, his eyes were filled with killing intent. The holy sanctum forbade private fights. If it was recorded, even if he was talented, he would still be punished. Get lost! He shouted at Qin Feiyang, and reached out his hand to grab the image crystal in Fatso's hand. Your Excellency, you are too much. Qin Feiyang's eyes narrowed slightly, and he immediately struck out with his palm. His palm. Golden light suddenly appeared. The word return appeared. The two big hands met in an instant. Puff. Crack. The young man in black spat out a mouthful of blood, and his body flew out. The skin on his arm was lacerated, and blood flowed out. How is this possible? The young man in black was shocked. His strength was actually reflected back. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly, "It's just a misunderstanding, why are you so aggressive? How about we just let it go? In your dreams. How dare you hurt me, you have to pay the price." The young man in black's eyes flashed with a touch of hostility, and his battle chi surged. He rushed toward Qin Feiyang with murderous intent. "Wait." The woman in black suddenly spoke, and landed in front of the young man in black, and reached out to stop him. Immediately. Chapter 337. Qin Feiyang. The black-clothed young man's pupils constricted as he sized up Qin Feiyang in surprise. Qin Feiyang nodded. "That's right, it's me." Now, the entire sacred palace knew about his deeds. And only he had a wolf by his side, so it wasn't strange that the black-clothed woman could recognize him. "I've heard so much about you, Brother Qin." The black-clothed woman bowed, looking gentle and polite. Qin Feiyang didn't care. If she didn't know that he could refine supreme-grade pills, she probably wouldn't even look at him. However, Qin Feiyang didn't show that he didn't care. Qin Feiyang cupped his hands and smiled. "It was really just a misunderstanding. I hope the two of you can forgive me." The black-clothed young man said angrily, "Is it also a misunderstanding that you hurt me? If you didn't attack me first, how could I hurt you? It doesn't seem to be good for you to make a big deal out of this." Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. "Are you threatening me?" The black-clothed young man's eyes darkened. Fatso said disdainfully, "So what if I'm threatening you? Fat Lord has ironclad evidence here." The black-clothed young man was furious and shouted, "Damn fat pig, I want to challenge you. If you have the guts, go to the martial arts arena and fight me one-on-one." "Idiot. Fat Lord has the evidence. Why should I fight you one-on-one? Isn't it a waste of time?" Fatso put away the image crystal and looked at the black-clothed young man proudly. The black-clothed young man clenched his fists and his eyes were gloomy. He said coldly, "Damn Fatso, I'll cripple you now." Fatso immediately took out the image crystal and provoked, "Come on, cripple Fat Lord if you have the guts." The black-clothed young man was about to go crazy. He couldn't wait to pounce on Fatso and tear his mouth apart. But the rules of the sacred palace were like a mountain that pressed heavily on his heart, making him not dare to act rashly. "Why aren't you moving? Don't just talk the talk. If that's the case, the little beauty beside you will look down on you." Fat Lord smirked. "Damned Fatso, I'm going to tear your mouth apart." The black-clothed youth could no longer hold himself back. He opened his arms and pounced towards Fatso. The woman in black shouted, "Xiao Jian, don't be rash." The black-clothed youth slammed on the brakes and turned to look at the black-clothed woman before looking at Fatso. His eyes flickered with uncertainty. "Xiao Jian." Fatso was slightly stunned and asked, "Brother Wolf, don't you think this name is very strange?" "What's strange?" Wolf King looked at him suspiciously. "Look. Xiao Jian, don't be so cheap, if you add the word offend in the middle, wouldn't it be less despicable?" Fatso explained seriously. "Ugh." Wolf King was stunned. Waha, the next moment. It stood up like a human and laughed out loud. "Not only is he despicable, but his name is even more despicable. What a despicable person. It's probably because he's too despicable that his father gave him such a name." Fatty chuckled, then activated his taunting mode without bothering to hide it. Qin Feiyang's face twitched. These two bastards really wanted to see the world in chaos. He looked at Xiao Jian and the black-clothed man. Xiao Jian was so angry that his eyes were red and his teeth were chattering. Obviously, he was on the verge of exploding. The black-clothed woman's face was also very ugly. She had long heard about the character of this ruffian wolf, and it really lived up to its reputation. But that Fatso was even more despicable than this ruffian wolf. His stinky mouth was simply asking for a beating. Whoever messed with them would have 8 lifetimes of bad luck. But why hadn't she heard that there was such a wretched fatso around Qin Feiyang before? Looking at his relationship with Qin Feiyang, it seemed that they didn't just know each other. Just when the black-clothed woman was puzzled. Xiao Jian was like a furious beast, pouncing towards the 2 people and the wolf. At the same time, a ferocious beast that was several meters long appeared behind him. It was a golden-haired lion, its entire body was golden, as if it was cast from gold, ferocious and impressive. That was Xiao Jian's fighting soul. Damn it, he's serious. Fatso's face turned pale and he roared, "Brother Wolf, quickly cripple him. Idiots who come looking for a beating, I've never been lenient." Wolf King's eyes flashed with a fierce light. Boom! Its body shook, and a beam of golden light rushed into the sky. A huge golden beast shadow appeared out of thin air in an instant. It was almost as tall as the sky. Like a peerless beast, standing between heaven and earth, its ferocious aura surged. Its entire body was covered in golden light, illuminating half of the sky. What the hell is that? Its aura is so amazing. Xiao Jian and the black-clothed woman's faces suddenly changed. Although the beast shadow's true appearance and outline could not be seen clearly, it was obviously the ruffian wolf's fighting soul. But it was still huge. And the aura it emitted shocked everyone in all directions. The golden-haired lion, which was also a fighting soul, was like a mouse seeing a cat at this moment, shivering there. Every time I see Brother Wolf's fighting soul, Fat Lord can't help but feel my blood boil. Fatso clenched his fists, his eyes revealing a fanatical light. Qin Feiyang also felt the same. This is not something to be envious of. After all, I'm a peerless wolf god who has received guidance from an expert. Wolf King was very proud, glancing at Xiao Jian, his bell-like eyes were full of disdain. Swallow. Suddenly, Wolf King roared. The golden-haired lion fighting soul suddenly flew uncontrollably towards the giant shadow. How is this possible? I can't control the fighting soul. Xiao Jian's eyes widened in anger, he was in extreme disbelief. It's impossible. The black-clothed woman frowned and shouted, "Quickly take back the fighting soul." I can't take it back. Xiao Jian was about to go crazy. The black-clothed woman was surprised. What was going on? Calm down, calm down. Because later, there will be something even more surprising. Fatso laughed. There's someone. Qin Feiyang suddenly tensed up, glanced at the top of the ancient tower, and shouted in a low voice, "White-eyed wolf, quickly take back the fighting soul." Why? Wolf King was dissatisfied. Qin Feiyang said in a low voice, "Depriving others of their fighting soul is a taboo." Wolf King pursed his lips, "Who told him to be so blind to provoke us?" "That's right, we have to teach him a lesson." Fatso nodded, "What taboo?" He didn't care at all. Qin Feiyang said, "Don't you see there's someone at the top of the ancient tower?" Fatso and Wolf King looked up, and their pupils suddenly shrank. They saw a middle-aged man standing there. He was wearing a purple long robe, his body was tall and straight, his eyebrows were like swords, and there were mottled white hair at his temples, full of vicissitudes of life. The aura exuding from his body was like a vast ocean, unfathomable. An expert. With just a glance, Wolf King and Fatso knew that the man in purple was stronger than Shi Ming and Lu Yun. And most importantly, the man in purple was not wearing the uniform of the sacred temple. It was enough to say. His status in the sacred temple had already surpassed the law enforcement elder. Qin Feiyang said in a low voice, "If you swallow Xiao Jian's fighting soul now, the upper echelons of the sacred temple will definitely use you as a lab rat for research." In the blink of an eye, Wolf King decisively took back the fighting soul when he heard that. What a joke, it was a peerless divine wolf, it was too embarrassing to be treated as a lab rat. As soon as the golden figure disappeared, Xiao Jian immediately felt that he could control the fighting soul again. What's going on? He was full of doubts. He didn't understand why that would happen. He also didn't understand why Ruffian Wolf suddenly stopped. At this moment, the man in purple said, "Xiao Jian, you're being unreasonable and causing trouble. Go to the martial arts arena and kneel for a month." "Who's farting there?" Xiao Jian was furious and looked towards the direction of the voice. When he saw the man in purple, his face turned pale. The woman in black's face also changed slightly. She bowed and said, "Greetings to the Hall Master." "Hall Master." The two people and the wolf looked at each other and hurriedly bowed to the man in purple. There were too many disciples in the sacred temple. In order to make it easier to manage, the martial arts hall and the pill hall had their own law enforcement elder and hall master. This person was undoubtedly the martial arts hall master. At the same time, they were gloating again. Xiao Jian really had the guts to say that the hall master was farting. This kid was definitely done for. Xiao Jian was also regretting it. Why didn't he see it clearly before speaking? "Hall Master," this disciple spoke without thinking. "Please forgive me." He hurriedly bowed and said with a panicked expression. The martial arts Hall Master said, "Add 1 month and kneel for 2 months. "Hall Master," Xiao Jian still wanted to say something. The martial arts Hall Master said, "Go immediately." His voice was very calm, without the slightest anger, but it had a great majesty that couldn't be disobeyed. Xiao Jian's body trembled. He turned his head and glanced at Qin Feiyang and Wolf King. Fatso laughed and waved his hand, "Bye-bye, I won't see you off." Wolf King grinned and said, 2 months is a long time. You have to take care of yourself. In the temple's great gathering half a year later, I will definitely let you know the consequences of offending me." Xiao Jian coldly threw down these words, and with a heart full of anger, turned and ran towards the martial arts hall. Temple's great gathering. Wolf King was stunned and looked at Qin Feiyang and Fatso. The two of them were also confused. The man in purple said, "Dongfang Yu, go back and cultivate in seclusion." "So she is Dongfang Yu?" Qin Feiyang muttered. "Yes." Dongfang Yu bowed and replied. Looking at Qin Feiyang, she smiled and said, "Brother Qin, we will meet on the battlefield in half a year." After saying that, without waiting for Qin Feiyang's response, she turned and left. Battlefield? Qin Feiyang shook his head. He was too lazy to participate in such a boring competition. It was a waste of time. The man in purple looked at the two people and the wolf and said expressionlessly, "Good luck won't follow you forever. Take care of yourselves." Swish. Before his voice fell, the man in purple disappeared without a trace. "We didn't rely on good luck." Fatso sneered. If they relied on luck, they would have been wiped out in one fell swoop back in the Yan County. To be able to live until today, they relied on true ability. The two people and the wolf didn't delay and went straight to the tower gate. Why is there no one guarding? Fatty scanned his surroundings in bewilderment. Logically speaking, such a place should be heavily guarded, but within the range of their line of sight, not a single person could be seen. Qin Feiyang said, "I reckon that the martial arts hall master is in the stone tower." It was impossible for such an important place like the martial arts treasury to be unguarded. Then how do we get in? Fatso frowned. Chapter 338. Qin Feiyang also frowned. Did this martial arts hall master have a prejudice against them? He couldn't remember where he had offended this person. Clang! Suddenly, the pagoda door opened automatically. It was pitch black, and they couldn't see the situation inside the pagoda. "Come in." When the pagoda door opened, an old voice sounded in the minds of Qin Feiyang and Wolf King at the same time. The 2 men and 1 wolf looked at each other and entered the ancient pagoda one after another. Their eyes lit up. They were deeply shocked by the scene in front of them. The space inside the ancient pagoda was very large, about 500 to 600 meters. In the air, there were many iron boxes floating. These iron boxes were of the same size, completely black, and simple. With a blink of an eye, there were no less than 10,000 iron boxes. On the ground, there were dozens of people sitting cross-legged. They were all young and wore the temple's uniform. Obviously, they were all disciples of the temple. But at this moment, their eyes were closed, and they each held a jade scroll in their hands. It was as if they didn't notice the arrival of the 2 men and 1 wolf. Fatso asked, "What are those jade scrolls?" Qin Feiyang said in a low voice, "It's a battle art. Martial arts treasury forbids talking." At this moment, that aged voice once again resounded in their minds. Qin Feiyang looked around and found a red-haired old man in the right corner. The old man sat cross-legged on an old praying mat and was sizing them up. Qin Feiyang's pupils constricted, and he whispered, "This person is a battle master, don't act recklessly." "How do you know?" Wolf King was shocked. Qin Feiyang said, "Because only by stepping into the battle master can one directly transmit their voice into the other party's mind." Fatso and Wolf King looked at each other, their eyes filled with fear. The 2 men and 1 wolf hurriedly walked over, stood in front of the red-haired old man, and bowed. The red-haired old man sent a sound transmission, "Do you see those iron boxes?" Qin Feiyang nodded. The red-haired old man said, "There is a battle art in each iron box, but it cannot be opened." Qin Feiyang frowned. If he couldn't open it, how could he know what battle arts were inside? You can only rely on luck to choose a battle art. If I'm lucky, I might be able to pick a superior battle art or an auxiliary battle art. But if you're unlucky, you'll end up with inferior battle arts or even incomplete battle arts. The red-haired old man thought. Hearing this, the 2 men and 1 wolf were extremely displeased. What kind of stupid rule was this? To have to rely on luck to pick a battle art? Wasn't this a scam? You only have 3 months. You can only choose 2 iron boxes at most. Furthermore, you are not allowed to take the jade slips out of the martial art treasury. One last thing, you are not allowed to talk here. You will disturb the others. After the red-haired old man finished speaking, he closed his eyes to recuperate. Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows and said telepathically, "White-eyed wolf, secretly tell Fatso to hurry up, or there won't be enough time." 3 months isn't enough. Wolf King was surprised. Not enough. Qin Feiyang shook his head and didn't say any more nonsense. He turned his head to look at the iron boxes. Although he didn't go to the martial art treasury to check the battle arts when he was in the capital, he still understood the basic situation. Battle arts were countless times more profound than martial arts. The cultivation method of martial arts was very simple and easy to remember. But battle arts were different. Because it was too profound, it would take a long time to understand and comprehend it. After comprehending it, it would be imprinted in one's mind so that one wouldn't forget it. If he could take the jade slips away, it wouldn't be a big deal. He could wait until he went out and slowly comprehend it. But the key was that he couldn't take it out. So, he had to race against time. But now, he was faced with a very troublesome problem. These iron boxes were all the same size and shape. He didn't know which one to pick. Fatso said to himself, "Brother Wolf, the beasts probably have very few battle arts. You have to take it easy and don't pick randomly. After all, you only have 2 chances." "I know." Wolf King was a little annoyed. He glanced at the identical iron boxes and didn't dare to make a move. Suddenly, he turned his head and stared at the red-haired old man, saying to himself, "Old man, can you tell me if there is a battle art that I cultivate here?" "Yes, but very few." The red-haired old man only responded with this sentence and didn't say anything else. So, the probability of me picking it is even slimmer. How can I pick? Wolf King was so anxious that he couldn't wait to loot all the iron boxes. Anyway, it's all about luck. Just pick whatever you want. If you can't pick it, then think of another way. Qin Feiyang said with a telepathic message. He closed his eyes, walked a few steps randomly, and grabbed 2 iron boxes. Fatso and Wolf King immediately went up. Qin Feiyang opened his eyes, glanced at them, and opened the first iron box. A palm-sized jade slip suddenly appeared in his sight. Don't be too bad. Qin Feiyang muttered and sank his mind into the jade slip. Immediately, a few vigorous and powerful words entered Qin Feiyang's mind. Low-grade battle art, cold wind palm. Damn, this is too unlucky, isn't it? As soon as he saw the words, low-grade battle art, Qin Feiyang's eyes were full of disappointment. Without delay, he checked the second jade slip. Low-grade, another low-grade one. As soon as Qin Feiyang saw the word low-grade, his face couldn't help but twitch. His luck was too bad, wasn't it? No. Low-grade auxiliary battle art, Imperial Wind Steps. It was actually an auxiliary battle art. Qin Feiyang was incomparably excited. If it was an auxiliary battle art, then it was a different story. Although it was only a low-grade one, it could still turn the tide at the critical moment. Just like Swan. The auxiliary battle art he mastered was a low-grade one, but he repeatedly escaped from the encirclement of Yan Nanshan and the others. This showed the importance of auxiliary battle arts. To be honest, to be able to obtain the Imperial Wind Steps, his luck was very heaven-defying. This was because support-type battle arts were rare to begin with. Even in the Imperial capital, it was very rare. At least this trip was not in vain. Qin Feiyang secretly sighed. Wolf King secretly asked, "What kind of battle art did you get?" Qin Feiyang transmitted his voice with a smile, "Both of them are low-grade, but one of them is an auxiliary battle art." Damn! Wolf King's eyes widened. He could even choose an auxiliary battle art like this? What a lucky bastard! Don't waste time, hurry up and choose. Qin Feiyang secretly said a sentence, then sat cross-legged on the ground and began to comprehend the Imperial Wind Steps. Ah! However, just as he began to comprehend, Qin Feiyang's eyes were full of surprise. The battle art was not ordinary profound, and it was difficult to understand in a short time. But now that he was comprehending the Imperial Wind Steps, there was no need to ponder and he could understand the profound meaning. What was going on? Could it be that his comprehension was naturally superior? Oh, damn! Just as Qin Feiyang was bewildered, a pleasantly surprised shout rang out in his mind. He looked up at Wolf King. He saw Wolf King holding 2 jade slips, and his huge pupils were full of excitement. This ruffian wolf, could it be that he got some treasures? Qin Feiyang secretly murmured. Wolf King quivered and said with a telepathic message, "Little Qin Z, damn Fatso, I'm so lucky." Could it be an upper-grade battle art? Fatso also grabbed 2 iron boxes. Hearing Wolf King's voice, he immediately went up curiously. Wolf King laughed and said, "It is indeed an upper-grade battle art, called Fury of the Berserker, a battle art specially cultivated by fierce beasts." Damn, such heaven-defying luck. Why don't you go to heaven? Qin Feiyang and Fatso both looked at him enviously. Wolf King said proudly, "Don't be envious, this is not something you can be envious of." Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes and asked, "What battle art is in the other jade slip?" "With my luck, it must be an upper-grade battle art. Maybe it's an upper-grade auxiliary battle art." The Wolf King chuckled and began to check the other jade slip. He was immediately stunned. "How is it?" Fatso asked anxiously. Wolf King said angrily, "Damn, not only is it an upper-grade battle art, but it's also a battle art cultivated by you humans. Huh, Qin Feiyang and Fatso laughed secretly. This meant that Wolf King could only get one battle art. Look at how happy you are. Even if I can only get one battle art, with the words Fury of the Berserker and upper grade battle art, it's enough to beat you. Wolf King said disdainfully. The two were stunned and couldn't help but smile bitterly. Let's see Fat Lord. Fat Lord can definitely get an upper grade auxiliary battle art. Fatso secretly swore in his heart. He opened an iron box and took out a jade slip. Damn it! After checking it, he couldn't help but curse, and his face became extremely ugly. Wolf King said, I can tell from your expression that it's not a good thing. What's the hurry, isn't there another one? Fatso cursed in his heart. Wolf King said disdainfully, TSK, what good can a shameless fatso like you get? I can't be bothered to talk nonsense with you. Fatty snorted coldly. He lowered his head to look at the other iron box and mumbled to himself. Gods and Buddhas of all directions, 9 heavens divine Lord, please bless Fat Lord. Spirits of the heavens, spirits of the earth. You must get a treasure, so that you can blind the dog eyes of that ruffian wolf. He reached out his trembling hand, opened the iron box, and grabbed the jade slip inside. His mind sank into it. Fuck. At that moment, Fatty shouted in his heart and even jumped up from the ground. Qin Feiyang and Wolf King were shocked, such a big reaction. Wolf King questioned, damn Fatso, are you bluffing? Get lost. Fatso secretly cursed, sat on the ground, and focused on checking. Qin Feiyang and Wolf King looked at each other. Could it be that this guy really got some treasure? A moment later, Fatso's eyes lit up, and handed the jade slip to Wolf King, and laughed, Brother Wolf, seeing is believing, take a look for yourself. Wolf King took the jade slip. Fatso said, I'll tell you first, it's best to be mentally prepared in advance. TSK, I still don't believe it, it's really a high-grade auxiliary battle technique. Wolf King looked at it with disdain, but when he checked it, he was immediately stunned. What's going on? Qin Feiyang scratched his head, looked at the man and the wolf suspiciously, and snatched the jade slip from Wolf King's hands. His mind sank into the jade slip. Immediately, a few words entered his mind. High-grade auxiliary martial technique, return to one step. Qin Feiyang was also dumbfounded on the spot. It was actually a high-grade auxiliary martial technique. Chapter 339. Such a wretched and shameless person, how could he have such good luck? This was not fair. How about it, are you convinced? Fatso looked at Qin Feiyang and Wolf King proudly. Convinced. Completely convinced. One man and one wolf nodded weakly. Fatso snatched the jade slip and said with a sneaky smile, do you know why Fat Lord's character is so good? Why? Wolf King humbly asked for advice. Fatso said calmly, because being shameless can increase one's character. If you want a good character, you have to learn more from Fat Lord. Qin Feiyang's face twitched. Being shameless can increase one's character. Who are you trying to fool? He must have stepped on dog shit when he went out in the morning. Alas. Indeed, comparing oneself to others would only make one angry. He sighed bitterly and began to concentrate on comprehending the wind riding steps. In less than an hour, he thoroughly understood the wind riding steps and the cold wind palm and memorized them one by one in his mind. This is too fast. Qin Feiyang was in disbelief and turned to look at Wolf King and Fatso. They were still comprehending. Another 2 hours passed. Wolf King and Fatso also opened their eyes one after another. Seeing Qin Feiyang looking at them, they couldn't help but be stunned. Wolf King asked doubtfully, Little Qin Z, why aren't you comprehending? Qin Feiyang said, I've already comprehended it thoroughly. What about you? Brother has also comprehended it thoroughly. Strange, didn't you say 3 months wasn't enough? How did you finish it in such a short time? Wolf King and Fatso were surprised. Qin Feiyang frowned and whispered, let's talk about it when we get out. The 2 men and 1 wolf got up and put the jade slip back into the iron box. Immediately, the 6 iron boxes rose into the air and began to move in the void at lightning speed. The eyesight of the 2 men and 1 wolf couldn't keep up at all. In the end, no one saw where the 6 iron boxes had stopped. Wolf King said, this martial arts treasury is really watertight. That must be the case. Otherwise, every disciple will be able to obtain a high-level battle art. Qin Feiyang said. Take Fatso's primordial regression for example. If the iron box was not moved, Fatso could tell the others the location of the box after he left, and they would be able to obtain it. But now, if he wanted to obtain the primordial regression step, he could only rely on luck. 2 people and 1 wolf walked up to the red-haired old man. Before they could speak, the red-haired old man opened his eyes and transmitted his voice, you didn't find a suitable battle art? Qin Feiyang was stunned. He was about to say that they had already comprehended it. However, the red-haired old man continued, young man, don't be so picky. Battle arts are rare, and you only have 1 chance. Cherish it. Ugh. 2 people and 1 wolf were stunned. Qin Feiyang was too lazy to explain. He cupped his hands and said, thank you for your reminder, senior. But we have made up our minds. Please open them. As you wish. The red-haired old man glanced at them indifferently. He waved his hand, and the pagoda door opened quickly. Let's go. Qin Feiyang called out, turned around, and strode into the martial arts treasury. Wolf King and Fatso followed closely behind. After they left, the pagoda door closed instantly. Swish. The martial arts hall master appeared in the martial arts treasury. He looked at the red-haired old man and transmitted his voice in confusion, how did they leave so quickly? The red-haired old man said, young people nowadays are too ambitious. They don't care about low-grade battle arts. The martial arts hall master suddenly understood and said, so that's the case. I thought they had already comprehended it. Stop joking. Even Lu Xingqian, who is ranked first in terms of perception, took a month to comprehend low-grade martial arts. They have only been here for less than 4 hours. How could they have comprehended it? I don't like such arrogant young people. The red-haired old man shook his head. He didn't hide the disgust in his eyes. The martial arts hall master sighed and said, I thought they were all good seedlings. I wanted to find an opportunity to trick them into the martial arts hall. Now, it seems like it was unnecessary. The red-haired old man said, give up. Such arrogant people, no matter how talented they are, will have limited achievements in the future. The martial arts hall master nodded and disappeared instantly. The conversation between the 2 was transmitted, so no one heard it. But if Qin Feiyang and the others heard it, they would definitely laugh at the 2 for being short-sighted. On a small winding path, Wolf King and Fatso couldn't stop laughing. Qin Feiyang walked and pondered with his head lowered. Fatso glanced at Qin Feiyang and went up to hug Qin Feiyang's shoulder. Boss, don't be like this. Fat Lord is not such a disloyal person. Later, Fat Lord will give you a copy of the consolidation step cultivation method. He comforted. Qin Feiyang said, the battle art can't be copied. Can't be copied? Fatso was stunned and said proudly, then there's no other way. You can be jealous. Qin Feiyang shook his head and laughed. He was a little envious, but to be honest, he wasn't jealous. Right now, he was only wondering why it was so easy for him to comprehend the battle art. Not only him, but also Fatso and Wolf King. I understand now. Suddenly, his eyes lit up, and he finally understood. Understand what? Fatso and Wolf King looked at him in confusion. The reason why we can comprehend the battle art so quickly is that we have opened the door of potential. Every time the door of potential is opened, our potential will increase. And potential is related to the comprehension of true qi. The better the potential, the better the comprehension. In other words, our comprehension has far surpassed others. Qin Feiyang explained. Fatso suddenly said, so that's how it is. Fat Lord thought that it was because of Fat Lord's talent. Can you not be so narcissistic? Wolf King rolled his eyes at him and said, that red-haired old man seems to dislike us. Qin Feiyang said, he must have thought that we picked the inferior battle art and didn't want to comprehend it. That's why he said that we are biting off more than we can chew. Fatso chuckled, if we let him know that we have thoroughly comprehended it, I wonder how he will react. Let's go find that damn old man to show off and slap his old face. When Wolf King heard this, he immediately became excited. You'd better stop it. Besides, I can't be bothered to talk nonsense with that kind of self-righteous old man. Let's go back and refine some healing pills and bone-replenishing pills, then we will go out of the city. Qin Feiyang said. Why are we going out of the city? Fatso frowned. Although I have thoroughly comprehended the battle art, I still need to practice it in actual combat. As soon as Qin Feiyang finished speaking, the image crystal moved. When he took it out, Yin Yuanming's shadow quickly condensed. Yin Yuanming smiled and said, Brother Qin, long time no see. How have you been? Qin Feiyang shook his head and said, don't be so polite. If you have something to say, just say it. Brother Qin is indeed a straightforward person. Yin Yuanming laughed and asked, I wonder if Brother Qin still has any potential pills. Qin Feiyang frowned and said, the 2 pills I gave you last time made you more than 20 billion. Is it still not enough? Yin Yuanming was stunned and said with a smile, Brother Qin, you've misunderstood. This time, I will buy it with gold coins. I won't take it for free. Qin Feiyang said, then tell me, how much is 1 pill? Yin Yuanming stretched out a finger and said, a round number, 10 billion. Qin Feiyang frowned and said, then tell me the specific transaction price of the 2 potential pills that were auctioned earlier. Yin Yuanming said, the first one was auctioned for 11 billion, and the second one was auctioned for 10.9 billion. In other words, if I sell it to you for 10 billion, you will earn another billion or so. You are really doing business with a conscience. Qin Feiyang said. Although 1,800,000,000 was nothing to Qin Feiyang right now, if it were to be accumulated, it would be a huge sum. He had more than 200 pills on him. If he sold them all to Treasure Pavilion, they could earn at least 200 billion. Brother Qin, you can't say that. Although Treasure Pavilion did make a lot of money, we have to advertise and do a series of trivial things. We have to deduct the cost. Actually, we didn't earn much. Yin Yuanming smiled. Do you think I'm stupid? With the power of the potential pill, once the news gets out, a large number of people will immediately rush over to snatch it. Do you still need to advertise? Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes at him. Yin Yuanming smiled embarrassedly and felt helpless. This brat was too difficult to deal with. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed, and a smile crept onto his face. He said, of course, I can sell the potential pellet to you, or even give you 2 more. But I have a condition. What condition? Yin Yuanming was overjoyed. Qin Feiyang said, I want perfect battle arts. Perfect battle arts. Yin Yuanming was stunned and smiled bitterly. There are no perfect battle arts in the entire spiritual state. Where do you want me to find one for you? Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows. None in the entire spiritual state. It seemed that the perfect battle arts would have to wait until he returned to the capital. Qin Feiyang said, then let's use a high-grade battle art. It's best if there are auxiliary battle arts. Yin Yuanming sighed, It's not easy to find superior battle arts, especially auxiliary ones. I'll try my best. Qin Feiyang nodded and said, okay then, help me prepare 1,000,000 sets of materials for the battle chi pill. I'll come and get it tomorrow. What? 1,000,000 sets? Yin Yuanming was dumbfounded. After Qin Feiyang turned off the image crystal, he went straight back to the alchemy room. It wasn't until the next morning that he walked out of the alchemy room. A total of 3,000 healing pills, 3,000 bone replenishing pills, and 1,000 regeneration pills were refined. They were all pills with 2 patterns. After putting away the pills in the furnace into the castle, Qin Feiyang walked out of the alchemy room with Wolf King and Fatso. At that moment, 6 figures entered Qin Feiyang's line of sight. It was the 6 young men and women with level 9 mental strength. But at this moment, the 6 of them had bruised noses and swollen eyes, and their bodies were stained with dirty blood. Their expressions were shriveled, and their eyes were lifeless as they looked at Qin Feiyang pitifully. Qin Feiyang couldn't help but feel angry. Without thinking, he knew that it must be Xiao Hong in Dong Cheng's masterpiece. He coughed dryly and asked in confusion, "What are you doing?" "Senior brother Qin, please let us go. Back then, we were blind to have helped Lu Ziyuan and the others to humiliate you. Can't we just kowtow and apologize to you?" The 6 of them knelt on the ground with a thud and begged. "I don't understand what you're talking about." Qin Feiyang shook his head, opened a portal, and left with Wolf King and Fatso. "It's over. We're definitely going to have a hard time. Why were we so stupid to offend him?" Chapter 340. Treasure Pavilion. As soon as Qin Feiyang arrived here, he went straight to Yin Yuanming. "Brother Qin, you're really early. All the herbs are here. In the VIP room." Yin Yuanming shook his head, took out 4 qiankuan bags and threw them to Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang said, "Fatso, take a look." Yin Yuanming chuckled, "Don't worry, our treasure pavilion is most afraid of our reputation being damaged, so we never lie. You may know a person for a long time without understanding his true nature." Fatso chuckled, checked it a little, and said to Qin Feiyang, "There's no problem. Why haven't I seen you before?" Yin Yuanming sized up Fatso. His first instinct told him that this fat Fatso was not simple. Not strength, but brains. Fatso put away the qiankuan bags and said proudly, "Fat Lord is the boss's right-hand man. He usually doesn't show up." Yin Yuanming smiled, "That's a pleasure. You're too kind. But if Steward Yin can give me a discount, that would be even more perfect. Then the potential pill would be easier to get." A sinister smile flashed across Fatso's eyes. "Ah." Yin Yuanming was stunned. He started to bargain as soon as he arrived. Yin Yuanming asked, "Then Fat Lord, what kind of discount do you want me to give?" "That depends on Steward Yin's sincerity. We also like to deal with sincere people the most." Fatso chuckled. "In other words, the more discounts, the more sincerity. If the discounts were low, it would be difficult to have a deep cooperation in the future." What a cunning Fatso. Yin Yuanming cursed secretly. Originally, he wanted to throw this problem to Fatso. After all, the discounts were all money. The more discounts there were, the more money he would lose. But he didn't expect that he would be cleverly pushed back by Fatso. And he even checkmated him. This Fatso was indeed not simple. He pondered for a moment. He hardened his heart and said with a smile, "I'll give you a 50% discount. Is this enough sincerity?" Fatso smiled and said, "Enough, enough, enough. Thank you, Steward Yin." Qin Feiyang was also full of smiles. He quickly counted out 5 billion gold coins and handed them over to Manager Yin. The total price of the materials for 1,000,000 battle chi pills was 10 trillion. With a 50% discount, that would be a total of 5 billion. This fatso really knew how to bargain. Putting away the Qiankuan bag, Qin Feiyang asked for the coordinates outside the city from manager Yin and opened the portal. Seeing that Qin Feiyang was about to leave, Yin Yuanming hurriedly said, "Brother Qin, wait a moment." "Anything else?" Qin Feiyang was puzzled. "Brother Qin, since this is a deep cooperation, we should trust each other more. Tell me the medicinal ingredients for the potential pill and I'll help you collect them. We'll split the profits equally." Yin Yuanming said. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed and he said with a smile, "The steward is busy, so I won't bother you." After saying that, 2 men and a wolf stepped into the portal one after another. Bastard brat. Yin Yuanming was slightly stunned. When the portal disappeared, he couldn't help but curse. Originally, he planned to find out the medicinal ingredients for the potential pill from Qin Feiyang and raise the price to make a huge profit. And in this way, he would be able to take the initiative. Because, as long as he gathered all the medicinal ingredients in his hands, Qin Feiyang would buy them from him. At that time, he wouldn't be like now, being restrained everywhere. But he didn't expect that Qin Feiyang's vigilance was so strong that he didn't give him a chance at all. What a frighteningly scheming young man. But, just where did Qin Feiyang obtain the recipe for the potential pill? Yin Yuanming couldn't figure it out. Swish. At the same time, 2 men and a wolf descended in front of a river out of thin air. The river was very wide, more than 20 meters long. The rapid river water produced a deafening sound. A few hundred meters upstream, there was a huge peak that was hundreds of feet tall. A large waterfall poured down like 10,000 horses galloping. Its momentum was extremely vast. This was already outside the city. It was about 2 to 3 miles away from the state capital. The strength of the fierce beasts in this area was basically at the martial ancestor realm. There were also a few beast kings that had the strength of a war king. However, one had to know that the state capital was surrounded by endless mountain ranges. And this was only the periphery. Deep in the mountains, there were countless fierce beasts that were even at the war emperor realm. Fatso looked around and frowned. "Boss, with our strength, we can definitely continue to go deeper." Wolf King said, "That's right, in this damn place, I don't even have the desire to fight. Don't be so impatient. Let's find the beast kings in this area to test our strength." Qin Feiyang said. "Find the beast kings." Fatso and Wolf King looked at each other and immediately became spirited. As long as they didn't fight with the martial ancestor realm fierce beasts, it would be fine. 2 men and a wolf jumped up and rushed towards the other side of the river. Roar! Crash! A few aquatic beasts jumped out of the river. Their bodies were very large. They opened their bloody mouths and bit towards the 2 men and a wolf. However, they weren't strong. Judging from their aura, they should only be an 8-star martial ancestor realm. Look at Fat Lord's wind-chasing palm. Fatso laughed loudly in high spirits. He raised his hand and waved it. A flame battle chi appeared and turned into a world-shaking storm, producing an ear-piercing sound. As soon as the storm appeared, the river below was immediately swept up, and the few fierce beasts were swallowed by the storm. Roar! Accompanied by a few whales, the few aquatic beasts were instantly crushed into pieces by the storm. Fresh blood dyed the storm red. Whoosh! 2 men and a wolf landed on the opposite shore. The storm also dissipated with a loud bang. Wolf King said, "Not bad." Fatso smiled proudly. Although it was only an inferior battle technique, its lethality was still very impressive. Next. The 2 men and a wolf seemed to be possessed by the god of death as they continuously challenged the beast kings in this area. In less than 2 days, all the beast kings were killed by them. They had more or less mastered their respective battle techniques and were able to use them freely. How boring. On this day, Wolf King stood on top of a mountain and scanned the area below. His entire body was dripping with blood, and he was emitting a shocking baleful aura. However, he had a look of disinterest. With the current strength of the two men and a wolf, the fierce beasts in this area were completely crushed. There was no challenge at all. Fatso said, "Boss, since the battle technique is almost done, let's not waste any more time and return to the sacred hall." Wolf King hurriedly said, "Don't, I haven't played enough, let's continue deeper." Fatso shrunk his neck and said in fear, "Brother Wolf, the deeper regions are filled with War King realm beasts and War Emperor realm beast emperors, we are courting death. Look at how useless you are." The Wolf King glared at him angrily. No matter how strong this damned Fatso was, he always had a timid look on his face. Qin Feiyang pondered for a moment, then nodded his head. "Fatso is right, let's not waste time, let's hurry up and cultivate." Boom! Roar! But just as he finished speaking, deep in the forest, an earth-shattering blast and a furious roar were heard at the same time. A wave of battle rippled out. "There's a situation." Wolf King's eyes lit up. He ran down the mountain like a wisp of smoke and ran towards the direction of the sound. Fatso said angrily, "Boss, look, its wild nature is all because of you." Qin Feiyang shook his head and laughed, and said, "Let's go and take a look." As they got closer, the battle ripples became more and more intense. 10 breaths later, the two men and one wolf arrived at a small hill. Dozens of meters ahead, a man and a woman were fighting with a War King realm beast. The man and woman looked very young, around 24 or 25 years old. They were wearing white clothes. The man was a 3-star battle king. The woman was a 2-star battle king. But that beast was even stronger. Both of them were covered in wounds and almost couldn't fight back. Fatso said, "They are disciples of the martial arts hall." The clothes on their chests were embroidered with a small sword. It was the symbol of the martial arts hall. Suddenly, the man noticed Qin Feiyang and the others. It was Qin Feiyang. The man's eyes lit up, and he said in surprise, "Senior brother Qin, what a coincidence, I didn't expect to meet you here." Senior brother Qin. The woman was stunned. She turned her head and was overjoyed. She hurriedly said, "Senior brother Qin, quickly help us." Wolf King said disdainfully, "Aren't the people from the martial arts hall very powerful? Do you still need our help?" Xiao Jian, Dongfangyu, the martial arts hall master, and the red-haired old man. The actions of these 4 people had always made him very unhappy. So he didn't like the people from the martial arts hall. "What do you mean?" The man and the woman were puzzled. They didn't seem to have offended these 3 masters. It was a matter of life and death, the two didn't have time to think about it. The woman said pitifully, "Senior brother Qin, please help us." However, Qin Feiyang didn't seem to hear it and carefully observed the fierce beast. Soon he found. In the eyes of the fierce beast, there was anger beyond common sense. It was even a little crazy. Qin Feiyang asked, "What did you do to it?" If it was just a chance encounter, the fierce beast wouldn't be so crazy. Upon hearing Qin Feiyang's question, the two of them couldn't help but reveal a hint of panic. But in the blink of an eye, they covered it up. It seemed that they were hiding something. However, these abnormalities were all clearly caught by Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang said lightly, "If you don't tell me the truth, I won't help you." "Okay, I'll tell you. We stole 5 crimson flame glass trees from its nest," Nye Tian said. "As long as senior brother Qin can help us, we are willing to give you 2 as a reward." The man said anxiously. 5. The 2 men and the wolf looked at each other. They actually encountered 5 at once. These 2 were really lucky. Qin Feiyang said, "White-eyed wolf, you go and kill it. It's a piece of cake." The white-eyed wolf laughed and ran to the front of the fierce beast, roaring, rage of berserk. An amazing scene appeared. It stood up, golden light blooming all over its body, and its limbs and body expanded rapidly. The hair all over its body also stood up. Finally, its body had become a full size larger. The muscles all over its body were bulging. Its limbs were as thick as half a basin, and it looked strong and powerful. It was now like a muscular man, filled with a violent wildness. This was its combat state after cultivating rage of berserk. What a powerful aura! The man and woman's pupils shrank and hurriedly fled to the back. But that fierce beast was extremely irritable. Chapter 341. Little reptile, you dare to bite your grandpa wolf. You're looking for a beating. Wolf King slammed his claws at the beast's chin. Roar! The ferocious beast let out a wail as it was sent flying. His fangs were instantly shattered, and blood spurted out from his mouth. Then, the beast broke a big tree and finally smashed into the ground more than 10 meters away with a bang. Dust and smoke suddenly rose in this place. A huge crater was formed. When the ferocious beast got up, it glared fiercely at the Wolf King before fleeing without looking back. At the same time, the man and woman also turned around and fled. Seeing this, Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows and said to Fatso, "Stop them." "No problem." Fatso smiled confidently and stepped on the return to one step. His speed was unbelievably fast. In a few blinks of an eye, the distance was shortened. At the same time, Wolf King, who was about to chase after the beast, suddenly turned his head and chased after the man and woman. A ferocious glint flickered in those huge pupils. Whoosh! In less than 10 breaths, Fatso overtook the man and woman and stood in front of them, joking, "Where do you want to go? Why are you so fast?" The man and woman turned pale with fright. "What I hate the most is people like you who go back on your words and burn the bridge after crossing the river." Wolf King was also behind them, full of murderous intent. In addition, at this moment, its body was 5 or 6 meters tall, which scared the man and woman so much that their faces turned pale. The man hurriedly said, "This is a misunderstanding, we are not going to renege on our debt." Qin Feiyang stepped on the wind-riding steps and slowly walked over, saying lightly, "If you are not going to renege on your debt, why are you running?" The man said, "We are afraid, so we want to hide a little further away." Wolf King sneered, "I have already driven away that beast, what are you afraid of? Can't we be timid? I will give you 2 red fire glass trees now. Senior Marshal Brother Qin, please kindly accept it." The man patted his chinquan bag, took out 2 small crimson trees, and handed them to Qin Feiyang. On each of the 2 small trees, there were 3 fiery red leaves that looked as if they were condensed from flames. The fragrance of medicine assailed the nostrils. Qin Feiyang caught it in his hand, looked at it for a moment, and then threw it to Fatso. The man said, "Senior Marshal Brother Qin, can we leave now?" Qin Feiyang nodded, "Sure, but you have to hand over the other 3 red fire-colored glass trees." "What? Senior Brother Qin, didn't we agree that you would only give me 2 stalks?" "Senior Marshal Brother Qin, you can't take advantage of your position to bully others and take them by force." The man and woman's expressions changed, and they hurriedly said, "Yes, we agreed. But who told you to burn the bridge after crossing it? Just like the white-eyed wolf, I hate untrustworthy people like you the most. Hurry up and hand it over. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude." Qin Feiyang said lightly. The man said angrily, "You've gone too far. I'm going to report this to the law enforcement elder." Ah! He had saved their lives. Not only did they not know how to be grateful, but they even complained first. The 2 people and the wolf looked at each other, their eyes full of sarcasm. "Even if you want to report it to the law enforcement elder, you have to hand it over now. White-eyed wolf, do it. Qin Feiyang shouted. Wait, I'll hand it over. The man's body and mind trembled. He hurriedly took out the remaining 3 red fire-colored glass trees and handed them to Qin Feiyang reluctantly. That's more like it. The corner of Qin Feiyang's mouth lifted as he directly passed it to the fatty. Fatso also smiled and put them into his chinquan bag. The man said, "Can you let us go now?" "Sure." Qin Feiyang stepped aside and looked at the white-eyed wolf with a murderous look in his eyes. The Wolf King chuckled. The man and woman were about to leave. But at this moment, Wolf King suddenly pounced and smashed their heads with his claws. They died on the spot. Can't you just give us the 2 red fire-colored glass trees directly? Why do you have to play tricks? Aren't you courting death? Fatso smiled disdainfully, walked forward, and searched their chinquan bags. There are actually 5 red fire-colored glass trees. Fatso was stunned when he saw their chinquan bags. There are more. That is to say, they took a total of 10. Qin Feiyang and Wolf King looked at each other, their eyes full of disbelief. When did the red fire-colored glass trees become so abundant? Fatso said excitedly, could it be that there are other herbs in the nest of that beast? Let's go and take a look. Wolf King also became spirited. But suddenly, its pupils constricted and it used its force to sniff. The air was filled with the smell of humans. But it was not the smell of Qin Feiyang and Fatso. And it was not the smell of the man and the woman. There was a third person present. It glanced around and suddenly stared at a bush dozens of meters away on the left and shouted, "Who's there?" Qin Feiyang and Fatso were shocked and hurriedly looked over, their eyes flashing coldly. They firmly believed in Wolf King's sense of smell. If he said there was someone, there must be someone. And there was indeed a person hiding in the bush. It was a young man in white, about 25 or 26 years old. His clothes were also stained with blood, but his temperament and appearance were quite extraordinary. We've been discovered. The young man in white frowned. Can't see it? Then don't blame us for being impolite. Brother Wolf shouted and nodded to Fatso and Qin Feiyang. The 2 men and the wolf immediately launched at full speed, their battle aura surging, and rushed towards the bush. Wait! The young man in white suddenly stood up and stretched out his hand with a smile. Don't misunderstand, I'm just a passerby. Passerby? Who are you trying to fool? Why would a passerby hide there sneakily? Wolf King sneered. Qin Feiyang looked at the chest of the young man in white, his pupils constricting slightly. There was a small arrow embroidered on the chest. It was the people from the martial arts hall again. The young man in white cupped his hands and said, I'm really just a passerby and didn't see anything. Please don't worry, Brother Qin. I don't want to worry too much. But I have no choice. I only believe that the dead keep their mouths shut. Qin Feiyang laughed. Although they killed the man and the woman because they betrayed them first, they did not record it at that time. If this person told the higher-ups of the martial arts hall and exaggerated, the higher-ups of the martial arts hall would definitely think that they killed the 2 people out of greed. At that time, they would not be able to defend themselves. After all, the man and the woman had 10 red glass trees on them. No one could resist this temptation. The young man in white frowned and said, So, Brother Qin wants to fight to the death. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly and said, It seems that this is the only way. This person's aura was very strong, and he could not see through it. However, he was confident that he could defeat this person if he joined forces with Wolf King and Fatso. Actually, it's really not necessary. Not only are you a supreme-grade alchemist, but you also have a good relationship with the treasure pavilion. Who dares to offend you? I'm a person who understands the situation. I know what to say and what not to say. Moreover, if we really fight, it's still unknown who will win. Is there a need to make both sides suffer because of such a small matter? The young man in white laughed. So confident. Then, Brother Wolf, I really have to try. The Wolf King grinned and waved its huge claws. It took a few steps forward and its battle chi surged as it attacked with all its might. He was a 4-star combat emperor. Coupled with the enhancement of a superior battle art, the strength of this attack was enough to compete with a 7-star combat king. However, the young man in white did not panic at all. He raised his arm and casually slapped the Wolf King's paw with a loud thud. Immediately, Wolf King was sent flying and crashed into a big tree at the side. Qin Feiyang and Fatso looked at each other with a trace of surprise in their eyes. This person's strength seemed to be stronger than they expected. I've already shown mercy. If I used my full strength, Wolf King's claws would have been crippled by now. Brother Qin, this is enough to prove my sincerity. The young man in white laughed. Qin Feiyang frowned slightly. This person's words and actions did not seem to have any malicious intent. Qin Feiyang said, with your strength, you shouldn't be a nobody. Who are you? The young man in white laughed and said, I'm Dongjeng, a disciple of the martial arts hall. I'm an 8-star combat king. Dongjeng. Qin Feiyang was puzzled. Why hadn't he heard of him? Wolf King got up in a sorry state. His eyes flashed fiercely and said, I don't care what your name is. Today, we must fight to the death. Wait. Qin Feiyang stretched out his hand and stopped Wolf King. He looked at Dongjeng and said, go. Then we'll meet again. Dongjeng cupped his hands and smiled. He turned into a stream of light and walked away. Wolf King said angrily, Little Qin Zi, are you going to let him go just like that? Don't worry. Qin Feiyang took out the image crystal and quickly activated it. After a while, Huang San's image condensed. Huang San smiled obsequiously and said, so it's senior brother Qin. What can I do for you? Qin Feiyang asked, do you know a person called Dongjeng? Yes. He is a famous figure in the martial arts hall. Together with Dongfang Yu, Xiao Jian, and Lu Ziang, they are called the 4 prides of the martial arts hall. Moreover, he and Dong Cheng are brothers. Huang San explained a little and asked doubtfully, Senior brother Qin, why do you suddenly ask about him? I happened to meet him. What's his personality like? Qin Feiyang asked. He is a typical person who hides a knife in his smile. Although his name has the word Zheng, he is actually very hypocritical, insidious, and vicious. If you meet him again in the future, senior brother Qin, you have to be careful. Huang San warned. I know. Thank you. Qin Feiyang smiled and put away the image crystal. His eyes suddenly turned cold, and he shouted, Wolf King, track him. You should have done this earlier. The Wolf King chuckled and dashed in the direction where Dongjeng had disappeared. Qin Feiyang and Fatso followed closely behind. Fatso, when we return to the sacred temple, go and investigate all the influential people in the sacred temple. Especially their personalities and conduct. Qin Feiyang said in a deep voice. If he had known Dongjeng's character, he would never have let him go. Fortunately, he was careful and asked Huang San. Otherwise, there would be endless trouble. Understood. Fatso nodded and said worriedly, Boss, can we beat the 8-star battle king? Don't worry, I'm confident. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed coldly. Chapter 342. At the same time. In a dense forest 500 meters ahead. Dongjeng stood beside a big tree with his head lowered and his face as gloomy as water. Originally, he was here to train and happened to meet that man and woman. Knowing that they had stolen 10 red fire glass trees, he followed them all the way, ready to kill them and rob them. But unexpectedly, Qin Feiyang and Wolf King actually jumped out halfway and snatched the 10 red fire glass trees first. He wanted to continue to lurk and wait for an opportunity to assassinate the two people and the wolf. But he didn't expect to be noticed by Wolf King. But fortunately, the two people and the wolf were too stupid and were fooled by him. But, those were 10 red fire glass trees. A total of 30 leaves. To be able to refine 30 red fire glass pills. This was a large amount of wealth, he was not willing to accept it. After pondering for a while, he took out the image crystal and quickly activated it. The figure of an old man swiftly appeared. It was an old man in white. He asked, "Third young master, why are you looking for this old servant?" Dong Jing said, "Butler, bring someone to the outside of the city immediately." The butler was slightly stunned and asked in confusion, "Why are we going outside the city?" Dong Jing said gloomily, "I found 10 red fire glass trees, but Qin Feiyang beat me to it." "Qin Feiyang is also outside the city?" The butler was surprised. Dong Jing nodded and said, "That fatso, and that ruffian wolf are in the forest behind me. Their behavior is not strong, right? With third young master's current strength, shouldn't it be easy to solve it?" The butler was puzzled. "If I can solve it, will I look for you?" "Yesterday, I received news that Xiao Jian's arm was shattered by Qin Feiyang. Xiao Jian's strength is the same as mine. Even Xiao Jian is not his opponent, I definitely can't. In short, come quickly and wash away Dong Cheng's shame." Dong Zheng said sternly. "Third young master, don't worry. Killing Qin Feiyang is not a small matter. This old servant will go and ask the patriarch." The butler said. "N." Dong Zheng nodded. After Dong Zheng told the butler the coordinates, the butler turned off the image crystal. "Qin Feiyang, so what if you are a top-grade alchemist? As long as you leave the sacred temple in the state capital, you will be a fish on the chopping board, waiting to be slaughtered." Dong Zheng whispered, his eyes flashing with a sharp light. However, he didn't know. Not far away, there was a black stone. Two people and a wolf were hiding behind a rock, eyeing him like a tiger watching its prey. A distance of more than 500 meters was nothing to them now. They had already snuck over when Dong Zheng was talking to the butler. Therefore, Qin Feiyang's group, as well as Wolf King, heard every word of their conversation. As expected, this brat harbors evil intentions. Wolf King said telepathically. "You're courting death." Fatso sneered and whispered, "Boss, we have to deal with him as soon as possible. Otherwise, when the butler comes, they will deal with us." Qin Feiyang nodded and said, "He likes to act, so I'll play along with him. Don't show any killing intent. Look at my eyes and act according to the situation." Fatso and Wolf King nodded. Qin Feiyang walked out from behind the rock, with a faint smile on his face, and said loudly, "So you're here. I've been looking for you for a long time." After saying that, he ran toward Dong Zheng with Wolf King and Fatso. N. Dong Zheng's pupils contracted. He turned around, looked at the two people and the wolf, and said, "Why are you looking for me? Don't tell me you're still worried and want to silence me." There was a trace of vigilance in his eyes. "Silence." Qin Feiyang smiled bitterly and shook his head, "Brother Dong is an 8-star combat emperor. Although I have something to rely on to stand in an invincible position, if we fight, it will only be a situation of mutual destruction. At least you know your place." Dong Zheng sneered secretly and let down his vigilance. He said with a smile, "Then why are you looking for me, Brother Qin?" "Of course it's because of what happened just now. Brother Dong, to be frank, I don't believe that you will keep your mouth shut, but I can't silence you. I've thought about it and finally came up with a way to satisfy both sides." Qin Feiyang said with a smile. "What way?" Dong Zheng asked. But in his heart, he sneered. "Who cares what method you come up with? In any case, not only will I snatch the 10 red flame-glazed trees, I will also take your lives. Qin Feiyang said, aren't there 10 red glass trees? We'll divide them equally. This way, you won't be able to say anything. Dong Jing said with a smile, you're dragging me into this. Bull, you're really cunning. What if I don't want them? Qin Feiyang said, then we can only fight to the death. Dong Jing frowned and said, so, I only need to agree. Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded and smiled. Sigh. Dong Jing sighed deeply and nodded, well, who asked me to be so unlucky to meet you? Just take it as making friends. Huh, Brother Dong is indeed a person who understands the big picture. I, Qin Feiyang, will make friends with you. I'll give you the red glass tree right away. Qin Feiyang laughed, walked to the front of Dong Jing, and put his hand into his chest. Rumor has it that this person is very difficult to deal with, but now it seems that he's just a so-so. Dong Jing muttered secretly, and contempt rose in his heart. However, what Qin Feiyang took out was not the red glass tree. It was Chang Shui. The distance between the two was too close, and they could touch each other. Dong Jing also completely lost his vigilance. Puff! Blood suddenly appeared. Qin Feiyang successfully completed the ambush. He stabbed Dong Jing's chest with his saber and hit his heart. Immediately, a heart-wrenching pain swept through his body and mind like a rolling wave. Dong Jing was stunned. He instinctively looked down, and when he saw the dagger in his chest, his eyes were filled with disbelief. Qin Feiyang's mouth slightly lifted, and whispered in Dong Jing's ear, are you very surprised? You are indeed good at disguising, even I was almost fooled by you. But you underestimate me too much. I, Qin Feiyang, can live until today, is not by luck. In terms of acting, you are still far from it. After Qin Feiyang finished speaking, he took out the Chang Shui, and stabbed Dong Jing's lower abdomen like lightning. Ah, even if I die, I will drag you down with me. Dong Jing screamed, his eyes full of malevolence, and a battle soul behind him soared into the air. Hey! Wolf King grinned. A huge golden beast shadow appeared out of nowhere, and directly swallowed Dong Jing's battle soul. How is this possible? Dong Jing's eyes widened in anger. There are many things you can't think of, but unfortunately, you won't have the chance to find out. Qin Feiyang smiled coldly, and kicked Dong Jing's lower abdomen. Bang! Dong Jing was sent flying and slammed into a bluestone. He spat out a mouthful of blood and fell to the ground, dead on the spot. Little guy, how dare you fight with us, you are really reckless. As the third young master of the Dong family, there must be a lot of treasures in your cosmos sack. Fatso licked his lips and walked toward Dong Jing. Don't be greedy, hurry up and leave. Qin Feiyang grabbed Fatso, and at the same time, waved his other hand to open a portal. But at this moment, more than 10 figures appeared out of thin air. The leader was the butler of the Dong family. Third young master, seeing Dong Jing lying in a pool of blood, Butler Dong gnashed his teeth, and his murderous intent surged. Qin Feiyang, I will let you die without a burial place. With a fierce roar, he waved his hand, and a blast of battle chi flew toward the portal. Oh no! Qin Feiyang's pupils contracted. He didn't expect that he was still one step too late. It was too late to enter the portal now. He grabbed Fatso and Wolf King and hid in the castle. Boom! The battle chi arrived in an instant. Accompanied by an earth-shattering sound, the portal was instantly smashed into pieces. A bottomless pit appeared on the ground. Thick smoke billowed, covering the sky and the sun. Are they dead? They must be dead. The butler is a combat emperor. With the strength of 2 people and 1 wolf, there won't even be a corpse left behind. The 10 people standing behind Butler Dong looked down at the dust below and sneered. No. They are not dead. Butler Dong said gloomily. How is that possible? The 10 people's expressions changed. It can't be wrong. I saw clearly just now that they suddenly disappeared. They were not hit by the battle chi. Butler Dong waved his hand, and a gust of wind blew away the dust in the sky. But other than Dong Zheng's corpse, there was no trace of anyone else. Butler, are you seeing things? How can someone disappear into thin air? The 10 people looked down with doubtful faces. Are my eyes really playing tricks on me? Butler Dong frowned. No. Definitely not. Where should the 2 people and 1 wolf be hiding now? But where were they hiding? Butler Dong turned his head to look at the burly man on the left and said gloomily, Go down and carry the 3rd young master up. See if he can be saved. The burly man nodded and swooped down, landing beside Dong Zheng. He reached out to feel Dong Zheng's pulse and his face darkened. He carried Dong Zheng and flew to Butler Dong, saying in a low voice, The 3rd young master's heart and sea of chi have been shattered. He is dead. Damn it. Qin Feiyang, get out here. Even if you can hide today, you can't hide forever. Butler Dong roared. However, no one responded to him. The burly man carrying Dong Zheng said, Butler, he might not be here anymore. Let's go directly to the temple and wait. Okay. Butler Dong nodded, opened a portal, and said sternly, Even if you escape to the ends of the earth, I will find you. Let's go. The group entered the portal one after another. After the portal disappeared, 2 people and 1 wolf appeared out of thin air. Wolf King said, Little Qin Zi, this is too much. What should we do? Fatso complained, Brother Wolf, it's all your fault. If you had listened to us and went directly to the temple, nothing would have happened. Damn it. How did I know that I would encounter these despicable people? Wolf King said angrily. In the end, it was all the man and woman's fault. If they hadn't broken their promise, they wouldn't have killed them, let alone been seen by Dong Zheng. Now, they wouldn't be in danger. Alas. I just came out to practice my battle arts. I didn't expect so many things to happen. I'm really unlucky. Wolf King sighed in annoyance and turned to look at Qin Feiyang. Fatso also looked at Qin Feiyang. They were all out of their wits now. They could only look at Qin Feiyang to see if there was a solution. Qin Feiyang's eyes flickered. After a while, he shook his head and said, It doesn't matter. Fatso and Wolf King were stunned. It didn't matter. This guy was too calm, wasn't he? Even if we don't kill Dong Zheng, he will come to kill us. Anyway, sooner or later, we will become enemies. What does it matter? Besides, after this incident, at least we know that the Dong family does have the idea of eradicating us. Qin Feiyang said. If the Dong family didn't have this idea, they would definitely stop Dong Zheng. But in the end, instead of stopping him, they sent Butler Dong to kill them. This showed that the Dong family had been waiting for an opportunity to act. Chapter 343. Fatso and Wolf King looked at each other with murderous intent in their eyes. First, it was the Lu family, now it was the Dong family. Fatso said, Boss, why don't we ask the Precious Treasure Pavilion to ban the Dong family? No. We don't have any evidence. The Precious Treasure Pavilion won't do that. Qin Feiyang shook his head. Fatso asked, Then what should we do? Let's observe the situation first. We don't lack anything now. We don't need to go back to the city. We can still cultivate. Let's go. Let's go to the beast's nest and see if there are any other herbs. Then, we'll cultivate in seclusion. After all, strength is the king. Qin Feiyang pondered for a moment and said with a faint smile. Okay. Fatso and Wolf King nodded. No matter how chaotic the situation was, as long as Qin Feiyang was by their side, they were not afraid of anything. This was their unconditional trust in Qin Feiyang. In the city, the Dong family was in a mess. The head of the Dong family was furious when he saw Dong Zheng's body. Dong Zheng was an 8-star battle monarch at such a young age. He was extremely talented. The head of the Dong family had put in a lot of effort to nurture Dong Zheng. Dong Zheng was just a step away from breaking through to the combat emperor realm. Who would have thought that he would be killed at this moment? The pain of losing his son almost drove him crazy. He immediately led his men to the sacred temple to ask for Dong Zheng. However, the higher-ups of the sacred temple did not know where Qin Feiyang was now. The news of Dong Zheng's death also spread. Without a doubt, it caused a huge uproar in the sacred temple. He even dared to kill Dong Zheng. Wasn't Qin Feiyang too lawless? Many people were shocked. However, there were also some who gloated. For example, people like Xiao Hong and Xiao Jian, who had a grudge against Qin Feiyang. Of course, there were also some who were angry. Dong Cheng was one of them. Although the head of the Dong family had many descendants, and each of them fought openly and secretly, Dong Cheng and Dong Zheng were the closest. After learning of Dong Zheng's death, he immediately threatened to kill Qin Feiyang. However, at this moment, as the parties involved, the two people and the wolf did not take it to heart. They lay on top of a mountain and scanned the area below. Below them was a valley that was about 1,000 feet wide. Within the valley, lush green weeds grew everywhere. Numerous verdant little trees swayed in the wind, presenting a scene of exuberant vitality. That ferocious beast was currently lying in the middle of the valley, its entire body filled with hostility. It was a pangolin that looked like a combination of a rat and a lizard. It was about 5 to 6 meters long. Its body was covered with a layer of yellow scales, and its head was like a sharp awl. However, other than the pangolin, the 2 humans and 1 wolf did not find a single fiery glass tree in the valley. There were no other medicinal herbs. It seems that there are only 10 red flame glass trees in the valley. Fatso mumbled. That man and woman are really ruthless. They didn't even leave a single stalk for it. No wonder it's so angry. Wolf King whispered. But in the end, didn't it benefit us? Fatso chuckled. This is called God's plan is better than man's. Wolf King said with a sinister smile. Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes at them, lowered his head and scanned the valley. He whispered, don't you think it strange? What's strange? Fatso and Wolf King looked at him suspiciously. Qin Feiyang said, no matter how abundant the red flame glass tree is, it's impossible for there to be 10 of them in the same place. After being said by Qin Feiyang, Fatso and Wolf King felt that it was really a bit unusual. Let's go. Let's go down and talk to it. Qin Feiyang said. 2 humans and 1 wolf got up and jumped down, landing in the valley. Roar! As soon as the pangolin saw them, it suddenly got up and stared at them, its eyes flashing fiercely. Don't get excited. Qin Feiyang hurriedly stretched out his hand and smiled, we don't mean any harm, we just want to ask you a few questions. There was a trace of suspicion in the pangolin's eyes. Qin Feiyang said, Fatso, give it a beast spirit pill. Fatso took out his Qianquan bag, searched for a moment, found a beast spirit pill, and threw it to the beast. The pangolin's eyes lit up, and it swallowed it into its stomach. Don't think that by giving me a beast spirit pill, the previous debt can be written off. The next moment, a voice full of hostility sounded in the minds of the 2 humans and 1 wolf. Ah! So arrogant. Wolf King was stunned and grinned, it's easy for me to kill you, if you don't want to try. The beast's pupils shrank. Qin Feiyang stretched out his hand and smiled, okay, let's chat peacefully. The pangolin looked at Wolf King, then turned to look at Qin Feiyang and asked, what do you want to ask? Qin Feiyang said, I want to know, why do you have so many scarlet fire glass trees here? This king went to other places to collect them. The pangolin did not hide anything and said truthfully. Where? Qin Feiyang asked. Butterfly Valley. The pangolin said. Butterfly Valley. The two men and one wolf looked at each other, their eyes filled with doubt. The beast said, Butterfly Valley is in the deepest part of the mountain range. There are many precious medicinal herbs inside, but with your strength, it is impossible for you to reach Butterfly Valley. Fatso asked, why? The pangolin said, because there are many beast emperors on the way, and even war master realm overlords. Wolf King asked doubtfully, since it's so dangerous, then how did you get there? This king is lucky. There was a trace of pride in the pangolin's eyes. TSK. Wolf King disdainfully said, looks like I need to loosen your skin for you to tell me the truth. It sneered as it walked towards the beast. Only an idiot would believe that this beast relied on luck to reach the deepest part of the mountain range. There must be some shortcut. Seeing this, the pangolin was obviously a little flustered, and hurriedly said, wait, this king can tell you, but you have to agree to this king's condition first. Wolf King said in disdain, do you still have the qualifications to talk about conditions now? Don't be so arrogant. Qin Feiyang glared at it, then looked at the pangolin and said, tell me. This king wants the transformation pill and the barrier-breaking pill. Furthermore, I want half of the medicinal herbs obtained from the Butterfly Valley. The pangolin said. Half. Fatso was startled, and frowned, you are a fierce beast, and you don't know how to refine pills, what do you need so many medicinal herbs for? The pangolin said, this king is willing, what do you care? If you don't agree, even if you kill this king won't bring you there. Okay, I promise you. Qin Feiyang nodded. The pangolin said, now, this king wants the transformation pill and the barrier-breaking pill. Wolf King said angrily, don't go too far, if we give it to you now, what if you don't bring us there? The pangolin said, a gentleman's word cannot be taken back. Only a ghost would believe you. Fatso rolled his eyes, his face full of disdain. A ferocious beast calling itself a gentleman? How shameless. Then go ahead and kill me. I would rather die than submit. The pangolin closed its eyes, revealing a look of defiance. Qin Feiyang found it funny. This pangolin was also a top-quality beast. Could it be, he suddenly thought that the pangolin's sharp teeth and claws could not be invincible, but it could still dig holes in the ground. And it was very efficient. Could it be that it dug a dark hole underground that led to the Butterfly Valley? Thinking of this, Qin Feiyang turned to look at Wolf King and Fatso, saying, quick, look around and see if there are any caves. The pangolin's pupils constricted. Caves. The man and wolf were stunned, and with a trace of suspicion, they wandered around the valley. Buzz. Qin Feiyang was also about to look, but at this moment, the image crystal made a sound. He frowned, walked to a corner, and took out the image crystal. An illusionary figure appeared. It was Lu Yun. Qin Feiyang asked with a smile, Elder Lu, what's the matter? How can you still smile? Tell me, what have you done? Lu Yun immediately shouted angrily. Ah! Qin Feiyang was stunned and said with an embarrassed smile, Elder, this is not my fault. Then whose fault is it? My fault. After the matter with the Lu family was over, I told you many times to stop. Now, you've killed Dong Jing too. Why do you like to cause trouble for me so much? Now, the Dong family is forcing me to hand you over. Tell me, what should I do with them? Lu Yun said angrily. Elder, calm down. This really isn't my fault. Qin Feiyang immediately recounted the entire incident in detail. After hearing it, Lu Yun immediately frowned and pondered for a moment before asking, is it true? If this disciple lies, may I be struck by lightning. Qin Feiyang pointed to the sky and swore. I just went out to practice my battle art, and I actually encountered such a thing. Sigh. I really don't know now. Should I say that you're lucky? Or should I say that you were born to be a jinx? Lu Yun sighed helplessly and asked, do you have any evidence? No. Qin Feiyang shook his head. He didn't know how to calculate, so how would he know that this would happen? Then there's nothing I can do. Even if I believe you, others won't. And now, I can't speak up for you because others will say that I'm siding with you. Lu Yun said with a frown. After spending some time together, she more or less understood Qin Feiyang's character. He wasn't someone who would take the initiative to cause trouble. But the key was that there was no evidence. Now, the Dong family was insisting that Qin Feiyang was the one who stirred up trouble first. Even if she had 100 mouths, she wouldn't be able to clear Qin Feiyang's name. Qin Feiyang asked, Elder, what did the Dong family say about this matter to the public? They said that you were the one who killed them for their wealth. Furthermore, they deliberately spread the news. Now, almost everyone in the state capital knows about it. They're all shouting that they want to kill you to rid the world of evil. In short, the situation is very serious. Lu Yun wore a worried look and felt extremely vexed. Humph, then let them cause trouble. The more they cause trouble, the worse their outcome will be when the truth is revealed. Qin Feiyang snorted coldly as a cold glint flashed in his eyes. Lu Yun was taken aback as she asked, does that mean you already have a plan? Qin Feiyang smiled faintly and said, it's not difficult to resolve the current situation, but I have something to attend to. I say, you brat, do you know how serious the situation is? What can be more important than your innocence? Lu Yun was furious. She was about to die from anxiety. Chapter 344. Qin Feiyang was sweating all over the ground. This Lu Yun really had a bad temper. However, his impression of Lu Yun had undoubtedly risen to another level. Seeing Qin Feiyang remain silent, Lu Yun felt even more powerless. Forget it. I'm too lazy to say anything. It's up to you. As for this period of time, I'll treat it as if you're dead. Finished. She immediately turned off the image crystal. Qin Feiyang shook his head and smiled bitterly. Next. Yan Nanshan. Ren Wuxuang also sent a message to Qin Feiyang. At first, it was a reproachful tone. But when they found out the truth, the two of them became furious. However, under Qin Feiyang's instructions, the two of them did not say anything and let the Dong family make a fuss. Not long after, Yin Yuanming and Huang San also sent messages to Qin Feiyang. However, Qin Feiyang didn't pay any attention to their messages. This was because he and Yin Yuanming only had a relationship of interests and were not reliable. Needless to say, Huang San was a completely fence-sitter, even more unreliable than Yin Yuanming. Boss, there's a cave here. At this moment, Fatso's surprised voice sounded. On the ground in front of him, there was a 7 to 8 meter wide hole. It was pitch black inside. Qin Feiyang was overjoyed, he kept the image crystal and ran towards Fatso. At the same time, the pangolin also ran over like a wisp of smoke. Moreover, he used his body to block the entrance of the cave. Wolf King ran over and shouted, "Get out of my way." The pangolin said, "If you don't give me the transformation pill and the barrier-breaking pill first, I won't let you go even if you beat me to death." Shameless. The two men and one wolf looked at each other. After all, it was a war chief realm beast, could it have some backbone? Wolf King chuckled, "Do you really think that I don't dare to kill you?" The pangolin snorted coldly, "If you dare to make a move, this king will collapse this cave and make you all watch helplessly. Brother has such a bad temper, see if I don't beat you to death today." Wolf King flew into a rage. Boom! Ferocious might erupted. In an instant, it entered battle mode and turned into a muscular wolf. The pangolin's pupils contracted as he roared, "What are you doing? Bullying the weak is not the style of a gentleman. Do I look like a gentleman to you?" Wolf King was both angry and amused at the same time. This pangolin was too outrageous. It rolled its eyes and chuckled. "Little bug, you look fun. Why don't you be my little brother?" Tisk. The pangolin's eyes were filled with disdain. Just look at him, and he wants to be its big brother. What a dream. Interesting. Wolf King became excited and said, "Little Qin Zi, give it a transformation pill and a barrier-breaking pill." "Are you sure?" Qin Feiyang asked. Wolf King nodded as a sinister smile flashed across his eyes. Qin Feiyang shook his head and laughed. He said to Fatso, "Give me the herbs." After Fatso sorted out the 2 sets of herbs, Qin Feiyang entered the ancient castle and refined them in less than 100 breaths. After taking the transformation pill and the barrier-breaking pill, the pangolin began to grow bigger and smaller. It was having a lot of fun. Fatso said, "Can you lead the way now?" "I don't need to lead the way. Enter the cave and keep walking down. You'll arrive in about 10 days or half a month. I still have something to do, so I'll leave first." Halfway through its words, the pangolin turned into the size of a palm and slipped away. What a joke. That ruffian wolf had been eyeing them covetously. If it followed, it would definitely not have a good time. "Hey, you want to run?" Wolf King grinned, turned into the size of a palm, and jumped onto Fatso's shoulder. Fatso immediately chased after it. The pangolin was a 4-star battle monarch. Although Fatso was a 2-star battle monarch, he had mastered a high-grade auxiliary martial technique. His speed was comparable to a 5-star battle monarch. Before the pangolin could escape out of the valley, he took the lead and stood in front of the pangolin. Fatso said with a sneaky smile, "Little guy, where do you want to go?" The pangolin said angrily, "I've already told you. What else do you want?" Wolf King said, "Nothing, I just want you to go with me." The pangolin shook its head and said, "I'm not going. You're asking for a beating." The Wolf King leaped down, instantly activating Berserk Rage and entering combat mode. The pangolin said angrily, "You're being unreasonable." "Hey!" Wolf King opened his mouth and pounced on the pangolin, beating it up. Fatso, who was at the side, was laughing so hard that his face was cramping. This pangolin was too stupid. It actually tried to reason with this ruffian wolf. Did it make sense? There was no reason to reason with it. Ouch! Be gentler, it hurts. Lord Wolf, stop hitting it. I'll go, okay? The pangolin also understood that if he didn't go today, he would probably be beaten to death. "Why didn't you do this earlier? Why did you have to force me to be rough? Actually, I'm also a very well-mannered and reasonable wolf." Wolf King chuckled. Ah! The pangolin was stunned. He sized up Wolf King for a while and shook his head. "I really can't tell. What did you say?" Wolf King stared at it with bad intentions. "Nothing, nothing. I'm saying, Brother Wolf, you're so handsome. You're simply my idol. I admire you so much." The pangolin hurriedly shook his head and smiled obsequiously. Wolf King said proudly, "That's more like it. Let's go, lead the way." Oh heavens, oh earth. Why am I so unlucky to meet such a shameless narcissist? The pangolin wailed in his heart as he reluctantly walked toward the entrance of the cave. "Don't dawdle, hurry up." The Wolf King kicked the pangolin beast and sent it flying. With a wail, it fell into the cave. "Ruffian wolf, I'll fuck you." The pangolin's angry roar came from the cave. "Oh, you dare to scold me?" Wolf King rushed into the cave angrily. A mournful wail sounded again. This pangolin is going to suffer in the future. Fatso walked to the entrance of the cave and looked inside sympathetically. Qin Feiyang shook his head and laughed, then jumped into the cave. Fatso also jumped in. After a dozen breaths, the two landed at the bottom of the cave. Fatso waved his hand, and a cluster of flame battle chi appeared, illuminating all directions. In front of him, there was a secret passage that led to the depths. The size of the secret passage was about the same as the pangolin's body. Qin Feiyang said, "Okay, stop fooling around." Wolf King retracted his claws this time, kicked the pangolin, and shouted, "Lead the way." The pangolin's body was bruised, and its scales were broken. There was also a big bump on his head, and the horns on his head were prominent. It got up in a sorry state, looked at Wolf King bitterly, and ran forward with a stomach full of grievances. 2 people and 1 wolf followed closely behind. On the way, the pangolin's days felt like years. If the Wolf King didn't agree with him, he would run up and beat him up. In short, it was miserable. Half a month later, at the end of the secret passage, a faint light finally appeared. As they got closer, the light became stronger. That was the exit of the secret passage. The pangolin stopped and looked at Wolf King pitifully, saying, "Lord Wolf, the exit is in front, can you let me go now?" Wolf King said, "You're my underling, so you naturally have to follow me wherever I go." The pangolin said angrily, "When did I admit that I'm your underling? You have quite a temper." Wolf King chuckled and went up to beat it up again. He snorted coldly, "As long as you don't admit it, I'll beat you until you admit it." "How can there be such an unreasonable wolf?" the pangolin cried out. "It's easy to get on the boat, but difficult to get off." Fatso shook his head and sighed. He retracted his battle chi and climbed up. When he came to the exit and saw the scenery outside, he was stunned. Outside was a huge canyon. In the canyon, countless flowers were blooming, competing to be beautiful, forming a vast sea of flowers. Amidst the flowers and in the void, colorful butterflies flapped their beautiful wings and danced gracefully. Furthermore, there was a clear stream that meandered and added a lot of color to the canyon. Qin Feiyang walked to Fatso's side and was also dumbfounded by this scene. This place was simply a paradise. Fatso suddenly pointed to a certain place and said excitedly, "Boss, look, there's a scarlet glass tree over there." Qin Feiyang looked over. Sure enough, he saw a small fiery red tree among the flowers. "There are a few 9 suns flowers over there. And over here, there seem to be a few fire ginseng. Look to the left, that's the longevity fruit." Fatso exclaimed continuously. There were all kinds of medicinal herbs growing in the flowering shrubs. Not only were there many of them, but each of them was extremely rare. It dazzled the 2 of them. Qin Feiyang frowned. "Strange, why are there so many medicinal herbs here?" Wolf King shouted, "Pangolin, I'm asking you a question, didn't you hear me? I don't know why there are so many medicinal herbs either." The pangolin said absent-mindedly. There was only one thought in its mind. How could it escape? If it continued to be destroyed by ruffian wolf, it would collapse sooner or later. Qin Feiyang asked, "Is there anyone in the canyon?" The pangolin shook its head and said, "The canyon is too big. I haven't looked for it, so I don't know." Fatso said, "Then how did you find the Butterfly Valley?" "Of course it's luck. I'm very lucky. I can find treasures everywhere." The pangolin said proudly. "Will you die if you don't brag?" Fatso rolled its eyes. The pangolin suddenly rolled its eyes and said with a flattering smile, "Why don't I go down and scout the situation for you?" Wolf King said disdainfully, "Do I look like an idiot to you? When you go down, I'm afraid you'll immediately dig a hole and escape." The pangolin smiled embarrassedly. That was indeed what it thought. "But you've reminded me." Wolf King chuckled and looked at Qin Feiyang. Little Qin Zi, I'll go down with the pangolin and take some medicinal herbs. Okay, be careful. Qin Feiyang nodded and reminded. Wolf King and the pangolin could both shrink and hide in the flowers. Even if there were people in the Butterfly Valley, they might not be able to find them. You'd better not play any tricks, or I'll cripple you. The Wolf King glared at the pangolin threateningly, then led the pangolin downward stealthily. Qin Feiyang craned his neck and looked around. At this moment, they were at a mountain peak about 100 feet high. And the entrance of the cave was halfway up the mountain. Boss, why don't we lie on the top? Fatso suggested. Qin Feiyang nodded. If they stood high, they could see further. Chapter 345. Dozens of breaths later. The two climbed to the top of the mountain and stood on a huge rock, overlooking the canyon. The whole picture of the canyon could be seen at a glance. The canyon was beyond their imagination, with a radius of more than 10 miles. A rolling mountain range surrounded the canyon without any entrance or exit. It was completely a closed and isolated place. There were 4 different places in the canyon. Sea of flowers. Lake. The lawn was green and lush. Jungle. However, these 4 regions were separated by the stream, forming an independent region. Strange, the layout here is obviously not natural, but why is there no sign of human habitation? Qin Feiyang whispered. Roar. At this time. Suddenly, a loud beast roar sounded behind them. Qin Feiyang and Fatso were shocked and hurriedly looked back, only to see a ferocious beast floating above the jungle. Its body was as huge as a mountain, and its millstone-sized eyes were emitting a shocking murderous light. That beast was staring at them. The two trembled physically and mentally, and their faces turned pale. The ferocious aura emitted by this beast was even stronger than Wang Hong, and it was even comparable to the mansion master. This was the beast in the deepest part of the mountain range. It was too terrifying. If it weren't for the mountain pangolin that opened up a shortcut, they wouldn't have been able to reach the Butterfly Valley. But gradually, Qin Feiyang and Fatso had a trace of doubt on their faces. That beast only saw them and didn't approach them. Qin Feiyang turned his head to look at the Butterfly Valley and then looked at the beast, with a thoughtful look in his eyes. Not good. Suddenly, he seemed to have thought of something, and his face changed drastically, shouting, Fatso, quickly send a message to the white-eyed wolf, tell them to come back immediately. What's wrong? Fatso was surprised. It's not that this beast doesn't want to approach, but it doesn't dare to. It's afraid of the Butterfly Valley. The Butterfly Valley is definitely not as simple as it looks on the surface. Qin Feiyang said in a deep voice. Hearing this, Fatso immediately took out the image crystal and sent a message to Wolf King. Ah! But at this time, 2 horrified screams came from the sea of flowers below. It was the voices of Wolf King and the pangolin. Qin Feiyang and Shermu's complexion suddenly changed. They hurriedly looked in the direction of the screams. Immediately, the 2 of them were in the air above the sea of flowers when they saw a white figure rushing towards the forest. It was a human figure. However, his speed was too fast. In almost an instant, he disappeared into the forest, so much so that Qin Feiyang and Fatso did not see his true appearance. This place is indeed not simple. Boss, Fat Lord is going to chase after them first. Hurry up and catch up. Fatso shouted. With a poochie sound, the clothes on his back were torn apart, and 2 black wings appeared. Whoosh! Spreading his wings, he turned into a stream of light and shot toward the forest. Qin Feiyang jumped down and dashed into the sea of flowers like a bolt of lightning. He then ran madly, ignoring the medicinal herbs around him. Several hundred breaths passed. He crossed the stream in 1 step and landed in front of the forest. And Fatso had already taken a step ahead of him and entered the forest. Ah! Just as he was about to enter the forest, Fatso's screams also sounded, as if he had encountered a terrifying person, with a sense of panic that could not be dispersed. Damn it! Qin Feiyang cursed and rushed into the forest without hesitation, running towards the place where the sound came from. A moment later, a small, quaint wooden building suddenly entered his line of sight. The small wooden building had a total of 2 floors and was located in the middle of the forest. And on the left side of the small wooden building, there was a beautiful flower garden. All kinds of flowers were budding, beautiful purple and red. However, when he looked to the right, Qin Feiyang's eyes widened, full of disbelief. It was actually a vegetable garden. The lush green vegetables were like young girls, exuding youthful vitality. What kind of place is this? Qin Feiyang frowned and looked up at the small wooden building. The door of the small wooden building was wide open. Looking from the outside, it seemed a little dark inside. The surroundings were also silent. Qin Feiyang's heart became inexplicably nervous. After calming himself down, Qin Feiyang cupped his hands and said, "I'm Qin Feiyang. I've barged into Butterfly Valley rashly. If I've offended you in any way, please forgive me." However, there was no response. Qin Feiyang continued, "Senior, please be magnanimous and let go of my friends." However, there was still no response. The dead silence made one's hair stand on end. Qin Feiyang swallowed his saliva and walked towards the small wooden building. However, he suddenly stopped after taking 2 steps. His expression became incomparably nervous. In fact, beads of sweat the size of beans appeared on his forehead. He felt as if there was someone behind him. However, for some reason, he, who had always been fearless, did not dare to turn back at this moment. "Who is it?" He roared and abruptly turned his head to look. However, there was no one behind him apart from the forest. What's going on? Could it be an illusion? But I clearly heard the sound of breathing behind me. Qin Feiyang looked ahead in bewilderment. However, he could not find a trace of anyone even after searching every corner. Strange. He frowned and turned his head to look at the small wooden building again. However, just as he turned his head, as if he had seen a ghost, his pupils suddenly constricted, and he retreated abruptly. There was a person standing in front of him. It was an old woman in white. She was as thin as a match and her hair was disheveled. Her eyes were deeply sunken. At first glance, she looked like a ghost from hell. It was extremely terrifying. What was even more terrifying was that the right side of her face was full of scars. She looked extremely ugly. In such an environment and atmosphere, anyone who encountered such a person would be frightened no matter who it was. However, Qin Feiyang quickly calmed down. She was breathing and had a heartbeat, which meant that she was not a ghost. As long as she was not a ghost, there was nothing to be afraid of. Qin Feiyang cupped his hands and said, "Greetings, senior." The old woman did not speak and just stared at him. It's not easy to communicate. Qin Feiyang mumbled and continued, "I trespassed into Butterfly Valley and disturbed you, senior. Please forgive me." The old woman finally spoke and asked, "You're a disciple of the Holy Sanctum?" Qin Feiyang nodded. Swoosh! The old woman's eyes flashed and she took a step forward. Her old hand reached out like a sharp claw towards Qin Feiyang. "Senior, let's talk things over." Qin Feiyang's expression changed and he hurriedly retreated. However, his speed could not compare to the old woman's. The old woman grabbed his clothes and tugged hard. With a rip, Qin Feiyang's clothes were torn apart. Ugh! Qin Feiyang was stunned. He covered his upper body with both hands and asked in surprise, "Senior, what are you trying to do?" Could he have encountered a perverted old woman? The old woman shouted, "Take your hands off." "I don't want to." Qin Feiyang shook his head and said with a bitter face, "I already have a sweetheart. Please respect yourself, senior." The old woman was obviously stunned. Her ugly face suddenly showed a fierce look, and she said, "Take your hands off again and I'll kill you. It's over. This old woman is really a pervert. My pure body." Qin Feiyang looked up at the sky and cried out in grief. His arms hung down weakly, revealing his strong body. And he had an 8-pack. Seeing Qin Feiyang's reaction, the old woman could not help but frown. However, she did not say anything and directly looked at the potential mark on Qin Feiyang's chest. Her old eyes were shining. Ugh! Qin Feiyang was stunned. He thought that the old woman was an old pervert. It turned out that she just wanted to see his potential mark. This was awkward. A moment later, the old woman's gaze turned and looked at the concentric knot. She asked, "What is this heart-shaped mark?" "This," Qin Feiyang hesitated for a moment and said, "This is a birthmark. I was born with it." The old woman said, "Is there such a birthmark in the world? Kid, are you lying to me?" Qin Feiyang smiled bitterly and said, "How would I dare to lie to Senior? This is indeed a birthmark." The old woman did not ask any more questions. She believed him. Qin Feiyang said, "Senior, can I put on my clothes?" The old woman nodded. Qin Feiyang hurriedly took out a piece of clothing and quickly put it on. He asked, "Senior, I wonder what happened to my 3 friends, dead." The old woman said expressionlessly. "What?" Qin Feiyang's expression changed. The old woman laughed sinisterly, "Trespassing into the Butterfly Valley, whether it's a human or a beast, they all have to die." "Dead," Qin Feiyang murmured. His face was full of disbelief. Ling Yunfei and the others were dead. Wolf King and the others were also dead now. Why? He gradually clenched his hands and shouted at the old woman, "You killed them for such a small matter. Do you still have any humanity? You have to die too." The old woman's eyes turned cold. "You damn old witch, I'm going to kill you." Qin Feiyang roared, took out Chang Shui, and rushed toward the old woman without fear. When the old woman saw Chang Shui, a strange light flashed in her eyes. Obviously, she could see that Chang Shui was not ordinary. She tilted her body slightly and calmly dodged. At the same time, she stretched out her arm and slapped the back of Qin Feiyang's head with her palm like a blade. Feeling the arrival of danger, Qin Feiyang suddenly came back to his senses. His rationality that was blinded by anger quickly calmed down. Whoosh! Seeing that the old woman's palm was about to hit him, Qin Feiyang suddenly disappeared without a trace. The old woman's arm paused, and she looked around in surprise. But soon, her ugly face showed a look of realization, and she said, "Come out quickly, I know you are hiding in that castle." "You even know this? How does she know so much about me?" "In the castle." Qin Feiyang's face was full of surprise and doubt. Lu Hong had already been awakened, and her face was full of disbelief. "If you don't come out, I will really kill your 3 friends." The old woman's voice came in. Qin Feiyang and Lu Hong looked at each other, and a trace of surprise crept up in their eyes at the same time. "You continue to cultivate," Qin Feiyang told Lu Hong, and then appeared in front of the old woman in a flash, and asked, "Where are they?" The old woman said, "You want to see them so much?" Qin Feiyang nodded. "Well, come with me." After the old woman said that, she walked toward the small wooden building. Qin Feiyang hesitated for a moment, but finally chose to follow. As soon as he entered the small wooden building, Qin Feiyang saw Fatso, Wolf King, and the pangolin lying unconscious on the ground. "What did you do to them?" Qin Feiyang was shocked and angry, and hurriedly ran up to check on their condition. "Don't worry, they just fainted, nothing serious. But it is easy to come in here, but difficult to get out. It's almost impossible for you to leave the Butterfly Valley alive," the old man said. Chapter 346. Qin Feiyang checked carefully and confirmed that Fatso and the others were indeed only unconscious. He heaved a sigh of relief and looked up at the old woman, asking, "What do I have to do for you to let us go?" With this old witch's strength, it would be easy for her to kill them. But she didn't kill them now. Therefore, there must be an ulterior motive. "You are a very smart young man. Go to a place and help me find something," the old woman said. "Where? What is it?" Qin Feiyang asked. "There is a sixth-grade alchemy fire in the Forgotten Land called the Heavenly Thunder Flame. Go and help me get it," the old woman said, her eyes full of desire. Sixth-grade alchemy fire. Qin Feiyang's eyes trembled. Sixth-grade alchemy fire was extremely rare. Even in the imperial capital, there was only one. He didn't expect that the spiritual state would have it. But where was this Forgotten Land? He knew the territory of the great Qin Empire like the back of his hand, but why had he never heard of it? Qin Feiyang said, "Senior, can you tell me what kind of place the Forgotten Land is?" The old woman said, "The Forgotten Land is an ancient site that I discovered in my early years." Ancient site. Qin Feiyang was surprised. At this moment, the old woman flicked her finger and a black stream of light rushed into Qin Feiyang's mouth like lightning. At that moment, Qin Feiyang felt as if something had drilled into his body. "What did you do to me?" His expression changed and he hurriedly sank his mind into his body. He saw a wisp of black air flowing in his body, heading straight for his heart. He hurriedly mobilized his battle aura and pounced towards the black air flow. However, whether it was the purple gold dragon aura, the flame battle aura, or the red sword aura, they couldn't shatter the black air flow. They couldn't force the black air flow out of his body either. "This is the black poison. It is a poison that I developed after 3 years of using 99 kinds of poisons and venoms. Just one drop is enough to poison a warlord to death. It will fuse with your heart and can end your life at any time. Don't even think about using the detoxification pill, because it's useless. Only this old one's special antidote can completely eradicate the black fiend poison," the old woman said. Qin Feiyang's face turned pale. "This old witch is too vicious." The old woman then took out a jade bottle, which was filled with a transparent liquid that was about half full. "This is not an antidote, but it can stop the poison from acting up. Take 1 drop every month. It can save your life. When you come out of the Forgotten Land, give me the heavenly lightning flame and I will give you the antidote." After saying that, the old woman threw the jade bottle to Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang grabbed it and glared at her angrily. This old witch was too treacherous. The old woman replied, "If I were you, I would immediately take a drop." Before he finished speaking, Qin Feiyang felt a strong tearing sensation in his heart. It was as if his heart was being torn apart. He hurriedly poured out a drop of transparent liquid and swallowed it. The effect was immediate. The pain in his heart immediately disappeared. When the black fiend poison doesn't act up, everything is normal, so don't worry, it will affect your cultivation. But there are only 60 drops in the jade bottle. In other words, you have 5 years. If you don't come out of the Forgotten Land after 5 years, then you can only pray for yourself," the old woman said. Qin Feiyang said in a deep voice, "You are so strong, why don't you go in yourself?" "Because there is a restriction at the entrance. Only those below the 9-star fighting king can enter," according to the old woman. After discovering that there was a restriction at the entrance, she had been waiting. Waiting for a young man with the ability to enter the Butterfly Valley. After all, the journey from the continent city to the Butterfly Valley was full of danger. Those who had the ability to come to the Butterfly Valley must have some means. Then the chances of entering the Forgotten Land and obtaining the heavenly lightning flame would be greater. After hearing these words, Qin Feiyang was stunned and couldn't come back to his senses for a long time. After a while, he smiled bitterly and said, "Senior, you misunderstood. This junior doesn't have such ability." At that moment, he briefly explained the encounter with the pangolin beast and the shortcut. "This old woman knows all this. The pangolin beast came to steal medicinal herbs several times. This old woman also saw it. However, although you took a shortcut, it also proves that you are excellent in all aspects," the old woman said, with a touch of admiration in her eyes. If it were someone else this time, they wouldn't have thought of asking the pangolin beast about the origin of the 10 red fire glass trees. Nor would they have thought that there was a shortcut to the Butterfly Valley. This showed that the young man in front of her was very quick-witted. Moreover, this man clearly knew that the Butterfly Valley was located in the deepest part of the mountain range and that there was a great risk, but he still dared to come. This showed that he was also very courageous. What she needed was a young man like this. Qin Feiyang said powerlessly, "So, I can't hide today. If you die, you can hide. Do you want to die or live? Of course, this old woman won't let you run for nothing. When you come back, all the medicinal herbs in the Butterfly Valley will be yours. Moreover, this old woman will also give you a few perfect battle arts." The old woman tempted. "Really?" Qin Feiyang asked. "This old woman never lies, but you have no choice now. Take them and follow this old woman." The old woman stomped on the ground, and the ground beside her moved to both sides, revealing a dark passage. The old woman stepped in. Could it be that the entrance to the Forgotten Land is below? Qin Feiyang was surprised. He sent Fatso, Wolf King, and the pangolin beast to the castle and quickly followed. As the old woman said, he had no choice. Frankly speaking, he also wanted to go to the Forgotten Land to have a look. After all, the 6th grade alchemy fire was too tempting. If he could get his hands on it, he might be able to refine supreme grade pills with 3, 4, or even 5 pill veins. This would be of great help to him when he returned to the imperial capital in the future. The secret passage slanted downward. After walking for half an hour, Qin Feiyang saw an ancient stone door. It was estimated that it had already gone deep into the center of the ground. The old woman waved her hand, and her battle chi surged and merged into the stone door. With a clang, the stone door quickly opened. A majestic aura surged out like a tide. Qin Feiyang's pupils contracted. This aura was too shocking. What was behind the stone door? The old woman was not surprised at all. Her expression was as usual as she strode in. This was a stone room, about a dozen meters in size. And in the center, there was an ancient altar. The altar was blood-red, as if it had been soaked in blood, exuding a mysterious aura. That majestic aura came from this altar. Qin Feiyang walked in and looked at the altar with a strange light in his eyes. This was the first time he saw this thing. The old woman looked at the altar, and an inexplicable light appeared in her eyes. Then, she turned to look at Qin Feiyang, and the light in her eyes also disappeared. "If you have any last wishes, tell this old woman now. 5 years later, if you don't come out, this old woman will help you complete it," the old woman said. Qin Feiyang's face twitched. Was there such a curse? After a while, Qin Feiyang nodded and said, "This junior does have a last wish, but I don't know if senior can do it." The old woman said proudly, "In this land, there is nothing this old woman can't do." So awesome. Qin Feiyang was stunned, and said, "If this junior unfortunately dies, then please help this junior destroy the great Qin Empire." The old woman's body trembled, and a shocking cold light burst out of her eyes, and said, "Are you playing with this old woman? Senior, you said that there is nothing you can't do, how can you blame me?" Qin Feiyang looked innocent. The old woman frowned and said with a black face, "Except for this, anything is fine. Forget it then. As for the other matters, I can do it myself." But, this junior wants to say goodbye to two people. Qin Feiyang said. No, from now on, you are not allowed to contact anyone. The old woman decisively refused. Her index finger pointed at the altar, and a stream of battle qi gushed out from her fingertip, continuously pouring into the altar. Suddenly, the altar bloomed with a bloody light. As more battle qi poured in, the bloody light became more and more dazzling. Until the end, the entire altar was shining. And on the old woman's forehead, there were beads of sweat. Obviously, it was not an easy task to revive the altar. When the altar was completely revived, the old woman waved her hand without saying a word, and a vast force rushed toward Qin Feiyang. Immediately, Qin Feiyang uncontrollably rose into the air and landed on the altar. Wait, senior, this junior still has a question to ask, Qin Feiyang hurriedly said. But before he could finish his sentence, he felt as if his body was about to be torn apart, and an indescribable pain came from it. Even with his temperament, he couldn't help but howl. And at the same time, his eyes were dark, and he couldn't see anything. He could only feel that his body was moving quickly. At this moment, every breath was endless suffering and pain for Qin Feiyang. He didn't know how long had passed. With a thud, he felt as if he had fallen into water, and a bone-chilling cold current swept over. In an instant, he woke up and opened his eyes. What entered his sight was clear water. Where is this? Qin Feiyang was surprised. The water was very cold, but it was still within the range that he could bear. He hurriedly swam upward. Suddenly, he felt that there was a crisis approaching quickly. He looked down and immediately saw 3 giant pythons. The 3 giant pythons were more than 10 meters long, and their bodies were as thick as buckets. Their long and narrow eyes revealed a cold light. And on their bodies, there was a layer of snow-white scales. What kind of giant python is this? Why have I never seen it before? Qin Feiyang's eyes widened, and his battle qi surged. Like an arrow, he shot toward the surface of the water. The 3 giant pythons chased after him. Moreover, their speed was several times faster than Qin Feiyang's. War Emperor level beast. Qin Feiyang was shocked. Wasn't it too unlucky to encounter such a terrifying cold-blooded creature the moment he came here? He didn't hesitate to hide in the castle. Fatso, Wolf King, and the pangolin had all awakened. Why are you in such a sorry state? As soon as Qin Feiyang came in, Fatso, Wolf King, and Lu Hong surrounded him, their faces full of surprise. Chapter 347. We have already entered the Forgotten Land. Our luck is also very bad, encountering a War Emperor realm beast as soon as we arrived. Qin Feiyang said helplessly. If they continued to hide in the castle would continue to sink. They didn't know where they were now. Was it a sea? A river? Or a lake? If it was a river or a lake, then it wouldn't be a big problem. After all, it wouldn't be too deep. But if it was a sea, then it would be a big problem. Because no one knew how deep the sea would be. After hearing this, Fatso was very worried. He frowned and said, "Who exactly is that old witch? Who knows?" Wolf King pursed his lips. Lu Hong asked, "Do you guys feel that it's very strange?" "It is indeed very strange." She said that the entrance to the Forgotten Land is restricted. Only those below the 9-star War Emperor realm can enter. This proves that she has never been to the Forgotten Land. But how did she know that there was a heavenly thunder flame here? Qin Feiyang frowned. This was the question he wanted to ask the old woman before entering the Forgotten Land. Unfortunately, the old woman didn't give him the chance to ask. Also, why did the old woman know so much about him? As soon as she saw him, she took off his clothes. Obviously, she already knew that he had opened the door of potential. However, other than the people around him, in the entire spiritual state, only Yan Nanshan, Wei Zhongyang, Ren Wushuang, and the mansion master knew about the opening of the door of potential. How did the old woman know? Too many doubts filled Qin Feiyang's heart. He had a very real intuition that this matter was not as simple as it seemed on the surface. Fatso and Lu Hong also frowned. Fatso said, "Someone must have leaked the news. Send a message and ask them." Qin Feiyang nodded, took out the image crystal, and poured his battle aura into it. Suddenly, his eyes were filled with surprise. "What's wrong?" Fatso and Wolf King couldn't help but look at him in surprise. Qin Feiyang frowned and asked, "Why can't I send a message?" It must be because your image crystal is not giving you face. Look at Fat Lord." As Fatso teased him, he took out an image crystal and sent a message to Yan Nanshan. But in the next moment, his eyes widened and his face was filled with bewilderment. "Damn it, Fatso, your imaging crystal doesn't seem to have given you any face, does it?" Lu Hong teased. Fatso smiled embarrassedly. Lu Hong also took out the image crystal and tried, but she was unable to send a message. Qin Feiyang said, "Seems like it's related to the Forgotten Land. Now that we can't contact the outside world, we can only rely on ourselves for everything. Little Qin Zi, what should we do with it?" Wolf King pointed at the pangolin. Qin Feiyang said, "I thought it didn't want to follow us. Then let's do as he wishes." The pangolin hurriedly said, "Don't, I'm not familiar with this place. How do you want me to live?" Wolf King said, "It's none of our business. Hurry up and get lost. Brother Wolf, don't be like this. After all, we lived and died together in the Butterfly Valley. You can't be so heartless." The pangolin leaned forward and smiled obsequiously. Wolf King said disdainfully, "Are we close to you? Don't try to curry favor here." The pangolin hesitated for a moment and said angrily, "Don't you just want me to be your underling? Then are you going to do it or not?" Wolf King looked at it proudly, with a look that said, "I'm going to eat you up." The pangolin was very aggrieved and roared, "You're too despicable. A gentleman should convince others with virtue, not take the opportunity to threaten others." Qin Feiyang and the other two looked at each other. This pangolin really made them speechless. He was not a good person, but he kept saying that he was a gentleman all day long. However, in Wolf King's dictionary, the words, "convince others with virtue," did not seem to exist. Wolf King chuckled and said, "I only know how to use violence to curb violence. Do you want me to demonstrate it to you?" The pangolin's pupils constricted and he hurriedly said, "Okay. As long as you don't chase me away, I'll agree to it. TSK. And here I thought you had some backbone." Wolf King was disdainful. When we leave the Forgotten Land, I'll immediately leave." The pangolin also muttered in his heart. It seemed that they all had their own plans. Qin Feiyang shook his head and laughed. He looked at Lu Hong and said, "Give me a water avoidance pearl and a cold avoidance pearl." Lu Hong nodded, took out 2 pearls the size of pellets, and handed them to Qin Feiyang. What? They actually have water avoidance pearls and cold avoidance pearls." The pangolin's eyes widened in anger. These 2 little things were both rare treasures that were priceless. Putting the water avoidance pearl and cold avoidance pearl in his arms, Qin Feiyang took out the Chang Shui and told Lu Hong, "Don't worry about anything, just focus on cultivation." After that, he flashed and left the castle. The next moment, he appeared in the water. The cold avoidance pearl and the water avoidance pearl immediately played their role, and he couldn't feel the cold at all. Qin Feiyang glanced around, feeling both happy and worried. This was already the bottom. It was enough to see that the place he was now in was not a vast ocean. The most likely place was a lake. Because the river water was rarely so clear. This was good news. But at the same time, there was also bad news. Within his field of vision, he had already discovered no less than 10 aquatic beasts. Their auras were not weak. Moreover, the 3 pythons from before were also hovering above his head. How can I go up? Qin Feiyang frowned. Whoosh! Splash! The 3 pythons found him again, dragging their long bodies, swooping down toward Qin Feiyang. Got it. Qin Feiyang's eyes lit up, and he disappeared in an instant. Disappeared again. The 3 pythons flew into a rage, and their huge tails swept wildly in the water. After a while, only then did they disperse with eyes full of unwillingness. Soon after, Qin Feiyang and Fatso appeared at the same time. Boss, you're killing Fat Lord. Seeing the water beasts around, Fatso's face couldn't help but turn pale, and he cried out in horror. Qin Feiyang said with a sinister smile, if you don't want to be eaten by them, hurry up and rush up. Fatso quivered and immediately summoned a pair of black wings. His battle chi surged, wrapping Qin Feiyang in rushing up. In the Butterfly Valley, Qin Feiyang found that Fatso's speed was several times faster with the help of his wings. As long as he caught them off guard, he might be able to rush out. Very soon, the 2 of them were discovered by the water beasts, and they immediately swarmed over excitedly. Including the 3 pythons. Damn it, how can we escape? Fatso exclaimed. Because not only below and around, there were also water beasts swooping down from above. Qin Feiyang said angrily, when can you change your timid character? Fat Lord was born like this, if you want to blame someone, blame my parents. Fatso said, as if a dead pig was not afraid of boiling water. Qin Feiyang's face twitched, and he said disdainfully, if your parents hear this, they will definitely jump out of their coffins and give you a few slaps. Don't scare me, Fat Lord is timid. Stop bullshitting, let's go to the castle. Look, there are so many water beasts, we can't rush out at all. Let's wait until we break through to the War Emperor. Fatso said anxiously. Cut the crap. Qin Feiyang bellowed, sweeping his gaze across the water beasts above, his gaze suddenly locked onto a vicious crocodile. Qin Feiyang said, its strength hasn't reached the War Emperor, we'll break out from there. Alright, to be able to die together with the son of the Emperor, Fat Lord isn't at a loss. Charge! Fatso steeled his heart, and rushed towards the crocodile as if he was facing death. If you want to die, die by yourself. Don't drag me along. Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes at him. With Fatso's current speed, it was almost instantaneous. Qin Feiyang did not hesitate to strike out with his palm. In the center of his palm, a golden light appeared. Return word technique activated. He slapped the crocodile's fangs with his palm. The crocodile let out a wail and its fangs shattered on the spot. His huge body was sent flying by the slap. Charge! Fatso also paused for a moment. But as soon as he saw the group of water beasts, he roared and rushed up without holding back. Not to mention, there were benefits to being timid. Because he was afraid of death, he would try his best to escape at the critical moment. After a few breaths, Fatso finally rushed out of the water with Qin Feiyang. Wow, so beautiful. As soon as they rushed out of the water, the 2 of them were stunned. What entered their sight was an endless stretch of mountains and rivers. In the sky, snow was falling. Snowflakes covered the mountains and rivers, presenting a snow-white world. But it was also cold. The 2 of them couldn't help but shiver. Dong! A series of sounds came from below. The 2 of them looked down, and their expressions changed drastically. Below, there was indeed a very large lake, at least tens of thousands of feet long. On the surface of the lake, wisps of cold air were rising. Those water beasts were all swarming out at this moment, setting off huge waves that were dozens of meters high. The momentum was shocking. Run! Fatso quivered and frantically flapped his wings, flying towards the glacier outside the lake with Qin Feiyang. The water beasts that could fly up were all at the War Emperor realm. The distance between the two of them was quickly closing. Fatso's head was covered in sweat, and he used all his strength. Seeing that they were about to be caught by the group of water beasts, the two of them finally left the sky above the lake. Without hesitation, Qin Feiyang grabbed Fatso and hid in the castle. The exposed castle also fell towards the glacier below. Roar! Seeing that the prey in their mouths had suddenly disappeared, the group of water beasts went crazy. They crazily slapped the void, destroying the mountains and rivers. Battle chi surged, and a fierce aura shook the surroundings. After about 100 breaths, they returned to the lake in a mighty manner. Inside the castle. You scared Fat Lord to death. Boss, if you do this again, don't blame Fat Lord for turning on you. Fatso collapsed on the ground, patting his chest with lingering fear. At the same time, he glared fiercely at Qin Feiyang. Xiaohong is braver than you, and you still have the nerve to turn on me. At least you're a man, don't let me look down on you. Wolf King rolled his eyes. Fatso pursed his lips and said, who doesn't have a few shortcomings? Unlike you, who treats shamelessness as glory. Yes, 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 you're simply shameless to the extreme. The pangolin nodded in agreement. Roar! Wolf King flew into a rage and ran up to Fatso and the pangolin to bite them, causing them to howl in pain. Lu Hong still needs to cultivate, can you guys stop arguing? Qin Feiyang was a little helpless. Having too many top-notch people around was also a kind of trouble. He listened carefully for a while, but didn't hear anything. I'll go out and take a look at the situation first. Qin Feiyang said, and with a flash, he appeared outside. Within a radius of a few hundred meters, everything was shattered. Goose feather heavy snow fell, gradually covering the shattered area. Chapter 348. The cold wind whistled and blew against his face, causing him to feel a piercing pain. Qin Feiyang turned his head and glanced at the lake, then climbed up an ice peak and looked down in all directions. The glacier stretched as far as the eye could see. There was no sign of life. But in the distance, he could see the shadows of some vicious beasts. Qin Feiyang did not know anything about the Forgotten Land, so he did not think too much about it. After jumping down from the ice peak, he called out to Wolf King and sped towards the east. Little Qin Zi, look, why is that snow ape so strange? A snow ape was wandering on the glacier, probably hunting for food. Its size was about the same as a robust man. Its entire body was covered in snow-white fur. It had merged with the world of ice and snow. If it did not move, one would not think that it was a vicious beast. The Wolf King looked at the ferocious beast with a strange glint in its eyes. Because that snow ape actually had two heads. Qin Feiyang sized it up for a while, then frowned, I think I've seen it somewhere before. In the Great Qin Empire, one-headed apes were very common. But he had never met a two-headed ape before. Suddenly, Qin Feiyang's gaze trembled, and said, I remember now, that's a snow mountain ape. Snow mountain ape? Wolf King was startled, and asked doubtfully, is it different from the snow ape? It's different. The snow ape we usually see, no matter how strong they are, only have one head. But according to ancient records, the snow mountain ape will grow another head when they break through to the war chief realm. When they break through to the war emperor, they will grow a third head. Qin Feiyang said. There's such a thing. The strange light in Wolf King's eyes became even stronger. Something's wrong. Qin Feiyang suddenly frowned. What's wrong? Wolf King was puzzled. Qin Feiyang said, it's unbelievable. Wolf King stared blankly and angrily said, what are you trying to say? Qin Feiyang said, didn't I encounter 3 giant pythons in the lake? Wolf King frowned. Yes, is there a problem? Not only is there a problem, there is a huge problem. The scales of those 3 giant pythons are snow white. If I remember correctly, they should be snow pythons. But snow pythons and snow mountain apes are extinct species. Qin Feiyang said in a deep voice. Extinction? Wolf King was bewildered. That's right. Back when I was in the imperial palace, I read an ancient book. The ancient records clearly state that these 2 types of ferocious beasts were from 10,000 years ago. Qin Feiyang said 10,000 years ago. Wolf King was shocked and asked suspiciously, then why did they go extinct? Qin Feiyang shook his head and said, the reason for their extinction is not recorded in the ancient books, but I asked my mother. She said it has something to do with the unification of the great Qin Empire by my ancestor. In other words, they were killed by your ancestor. Your ancestor is really cruel. Wolf King said disdainfully. Don't talk nonsense. When there is war, there must be death. What's more, my ancestor didn't kill innocent people. Otherwise, he wouldn't have let the mermaid clan go. Qin Feiyang said. Wolf King pursed his lips and said, he is merciful, but it doesn't mean that his subordinates are also merciful. Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes and shook his head. These things are not something we are qualified to discuss. But, the Forgotten Land actually has creatures from 10,000 years ago. It's unbelievable no matter how I think about it. What kind of place is this? Qin Feiyang glanced at the land suspiciously. Who cares, as long as there is something fun, it's the same anywhere. Brother will go and experience the strength of that snow mountain ape first. Descendants from 10,000 years ago, don't let brother down. Wolf King chuckled and immediately activated Berserk Rage, turning into a muscular wolf. Little monkey, fight me if you have the guts. It stood up like a human, roared, and rushed toward the snow mountain ape. Roar! The snow mountain ape turned its head to take a look, and its ferocious nature erupted as well. Like a human, it charged toward the Wolf King. Bang! Crack! The 2 beasts collided with each other like lightning, and the snow mountain ape was immediately sent flying. This is a descendant from 10,000 years ago. Wolf King was stunned and said disdainfully, so what? Roar! The snow mountain ape got up, looked at Wolf King angrily, and roared at the sky. Roar! The next moment, 2 louder beast roars sounded from behind an ice mountain not far away. Following closely, 2 snow mountain apes dashed out. Their bodies would double in size, and they had 3 heads on their shoulders. They have the strength of the War Emperor realm. They should be the parents of that snow mountain ape. Run! Qin Feiyang shouted. Fuck, are you kidding me? Wolf King cursed angrily, turned around and ran in front of Qin Feiyang, turned into the size of a palm, and jumped onto Qin Feiyang's shoulder. Qin Feiyang also immediately used Imperial Wind Steps and quickly fled. At the same time, the 2 adult snow mountain apes ran in front of the cub and growled a few times. The cub pointed at Qin Feiyang and Wolf King and growled a few times. At this moment, the 2 adult snow mountain apes were furious. They brought their cub and chased after Qin Feiyang and Wolf King. Wolf King said in shock, they're catching up. Isn't it all your fault? If you hadn't provoked it, wouldn't nothing have happened? Qin Feiyang said angrily. Wolf King scolded, who knew that it had a backer, so fucking unlucky. Qin Feiyang's face twitched. Others said that he was a jinx. But in his opinion, Ruffian Wolf was the real jinx. How is this possible? There are actually people. Suddenly, Qin Feiyang's pupils shrank. A few hundred meters ahead, there were 3 blurry figures fighting a ferocious beast. It's really humans. Wolf King was also in disbelief. Wasn't the Forgotten Land a historical site? How could there be humans? They all thought that there were no other creatures here except for the fierce beasts. However, the result was far beyond their expectations. Wolf King said, "Little Qin Zi, were we fooled by that old witch?" "It's possible." Qin Feiyang nodded. "In the blink of an eye." Roar! The two snow mountain apes chased closely. Moreover, their speed was countless times faster than Qin Feiyang's. In a few blinks of an eye, they arrived behind the man and the wolf. Shua! There was nothing he could do. Qin Feiyang could only bring Wolf King into the castle to temporarily avoid the danger. A fierce beast of the War Emperor realm was not something that he could fight against right now. One man and one wolf disappeared into thin air. The two snow mountain apes couldn't help but be stunned. But then, they rushed towards the three people in the distance. Obviously, they thought that the three of them were Qin Feiyang's accomplices. Damn it, why are the snow mountain apes here? Retreat! Seeing this, the three of them also changed their expressions and hurriedly turned around to flee. The fierce beast that was fighting with them was a snow-white leopard. It was more than 2 meters long and had a strong body. However, at this moment, its body was covered in wounds and its fur was dyed red with blood. Seeing the two snow mountain apes, the snow leopard also hurriedly fled. In its bell-sized eyes, there was a trace of fear that could not be dispelled. The two snow mountain apes chased for a few steps before stopping. They roared at the three of them a few times before returning to their lair. Not long later, Qin Feiyang and Wolf King appeared out of thin air. Seeing the two snow mountain apes disappear behind the ice mountain, Qin Feiyang heaved a long sigh of relief. Then, he grabbed Wolf King who was on his shoulder and said angrily, "I'm telling you, don't act recklessly again. Otherwise, I'll throw you here and let you fend for yourself." "TSK, do you think I'm scared? If I stay here, I might be able to make a name for myself. I'll have a better future than following you." Wolf King was disdainful. Qin Feiyang's veins bulged as he fiercely knocked on its head. Wolf King grimaced in pain and said angrily, "If you have the guts, try knocking again." "So what if I knock you?" Qin Feiyang was so angry that he laughed instead. He suddenly gave it a knock on the head and shouted, "If you piss me off, I'll castrate you." Wolf King was about to fly into a rage. But when it heard these words, it immediately shrank like an eggplant in the sun. "I don't believe that I can't subdue you." Qin Feiyang snorted coldly and chased after the three of them. What kind of place was the Forgotten Land? Right now, only those three people could find the answer. In front of them, there was a vast forest. Even the thinnest tree needed 2 hands to hug it. The thickest tree couldn't be surrounded by 5 or 6 people. On the branches, there was a thick layer of snow piled up, like a huge snow-white umbrella. It was quite spectacular. Those 3 people were currently gathered at the edge of the forest. They were 2 men and a woman, all around 25 or 26 years old. They were all wearing leopard fur coats. One of the 2 men was tall and the other was short. They were about the same size. "We were about to kill that snow leopard, but those 2 snow mountain apes ruined it. What bad luck." The short young man angrily kicked the trunk next to him. The tree shook violently, and pieces of snow fell down. The tall young man and the woman hurriedly retreated to the side and looked at the short young man unhappily. "Why are you looking at me? Can't I vent my anger?" the short young man said angrily. The tall young man and the woman looked at each other and couldn't help but sigh. In fact, they were also very angry. "Forget it, we'll just admit that we're unlucky today. It's getting late, let's go back to the tribe first and come back tomorrow," the woman said. "Okay." The tall young man nodded. "What bad luck." The short young man cursed angrily. "The 3 of you, please wait a moment." Just as the 3 of them were about to enter the forest, a loud shout came from behind. Someone's there. The three of them were stunned and turned around. When they saw Qin Feiyang, a trace of suspicion crept up on their faces. The short young man said, "Look, is that small beast on his shoulder a wolf?" The tall young man looked carefully and nodded. "It's indeed a wolf, but why is it so small? Even if it's a cub, it's much bigger than this." The woman whispered, "It's a little strange, be careful." The two young men nodded. A dozen breaths later, Qin Feiyang ran to the three of them, cupped his hands and smiled. "I'm Qin Feiyang. Please forgive me if I've disturbed the three of you." "It's okay." The woman smiled and asked, "Why are you looking for us?" The woman's figure was petite and exquisite, and her cheeks had a touch of red in the bone-chilling wind. Overall, she looked quite beautiful. Qin Feiyang was about to speak. The short young man suddenly said, "Wait." Qin Feiyang, the woman, and the tall young man all looked at him in confusion. The short young man said, "Were those two snow mountain apes attracted by you?" Chapter 349. Qin Feiyang was very polite. This was the first time he was so polite to strangers. However, the short young man did not appreciate it. "Apologize? You ruined our plans. How can an apology be enough to settle the matter?" The short young man was unforgiving. He threw a punch at Qin Feiyang. There was a layer of dazzling vital energy on his fist. Qin Feiyang frowned. He used the wind-riding steps to dodge the attack. He actually dodged it. The short young man was stunned. He sneered and said, "It turns out that you have some skills. No wonder you dare to be so arrogant." As soon as he finished speaking, he moved his feet, raised his fist and threw another punch at Qin Feiyang. Arrogant? Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows. He had been amiable since the beginning. How could he be so arrogant? Wolf King said telepathically, "Little Qin Z, he is only a 7-star martial grandmaster. Let me destroy him. There is no need for that. If he wants to be arrogant, I will show him what true arrogance is." There was a cold glint in Qin Feiyang's eyes. He raised his hand and waved it. Without using his battle aura, he slapped the short young man's fist. He was a 4-star battle king now. He could crush a 7-star martial grandmaster without using his battle aura. Crash! The short young man's arm was instantly lacerated. He flew out and hit the trunk of a big tree. Pfft! The short young man immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. Splash! Thick snow poured down and drowned him. He is so powerful. Seeing this, the tall young man and the woman could not help but narrow their eyes. Boom! The short young man lifted the snow and jumped out. "Bastard, how dare you hurt me? I will cripple you." His face was ferocious. With a wave of his hand, a big iron bow and 3 arrows appeared. He grabbed the iron bow and released the arrows. Whoosh! 3 arrows were shot towards Qin Feiyang, containing an astonishing murderous aura. Qin Feiyang frowned and said, "It was just an accident. Do you really want to make such a big deal out of it? Cut the crap." The short young man roared. Humph! Qin Feiyang snorted coldly. This person was simply unreasonable. He slapped out with his palm, and crimson-red sword chi gushed out, turning into a raging wave. Every wisp of battle chi was like a sharp wind blade that crushed everything in its path. Crack! The 3 arrows shattered on the spot. What? That's battle chi. He's actually a war king. The short young man was horrified. His face gradually turned as pale as a sheet of paper. On his face, there was an unresolvable fear. Plop! In the end, he collapsed in the snow, his body shivering. The big iron bow also left his hand. Who was this person? He looked to be about 17 or 18 years old. However, he had actually broken through to the Battle King realm. The tall young man and the woman were also extremely shocked. A 17 or 18 years old person actually had such combat strength. It was truly shocking. The tall young man cupped his hands and said, "May I ask which tribe you're from?" "Tribe?" Qin Feiyang was slightly taken aback. He smiled faintly and said, "To be honest, I'm actually just a rogue cultivator." "A rogue cultivator?" The tall young man was shocked. Strength was accumulated by accumulating resources. How could a rogue cultivator with no one to rely on have such strength at such a young age? Unless, this person had some kind of treasure on him. At the same time, the woman walked over and helped the short young man to his feet. This person's identity is unknown. Bear with it for now. We'll talk about it after we figure out his background. However, just as she was getting up, the woman whispered into the short young man's ear. The short young man nodded without leaving a trace. A cold light flashed in the depths of his eyes. The two of them thought that their plan was flawless. However, they did not know that Qin Feiyang had already noticed. He could not help but raise his eyebrows. These three people seemed to be up to no good. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed. He cupped his hands and said with a smile, "You three, I still have something to do. I'll take my leave first." After that, he took Wolf King and entered the jungle alone. It was not that he was afraid of trouble. It was better to have less trouble than more trouble. Since there were people and tribes here, he could go to others to inquire about information. There was no need to get into trouble. He's leaving just like that. The three of them were stunned. They looked at each other and hurriedly chased after him. The tall young man smiled and said, "Brother Qin, didn't you come to us for something just now?" Qin Feiyang smiled faintly and said, "It's nothing important. I just wanted to ask for directions." The tall young man asked, "Then where are you going now?" Qin Feiyang smiled and said nothing. The tall young man sighed and said, "Brother Qin, it seems that you don't trust us." "No, it's just that after this kind of thing, I don't want to bother you anymore." Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. The tall young man said, "If it's just because of this, I apologize to you on behalf of Lu Zhou." The short young man said angrily, "It's obvious that he was in the wrong first. Why should we apologize?" The tall young man glared at him. Lu Zhou frowned, then snorted coldly and lowered his head to ponder. "Brother Qin, in fact, it's not Lu Zhou's fault. You may not know, but we have been eyeing that snow leopard for a long time. If there were no accidents, we would have succeeded in hunting it this time. But at the critical moment, Brother Qin, you caused us to fail in the hunt. Anyone who encounters such a thing will have resentment in his heart. So, please don't blame him, Brother Qin." The tall young man smiled. Qin Feiyang said, "I don't blame him. After all, this matter is indeed my fault." The woman smiled and asked, "May I know how old Brother Qin is now?" Wolf King smiled sinisterly and said, "What? Do you like my little Qin Zi?" A row of black lines suddenly appeared on Qin Feiyang's forehead. "A wolf that can talk." The tall young man and the other two were extremely surprised. That's not right. The aura that this wolf exuded was obviously not very strong. How could it speak human language? Could it have taken a beast spirit pill? In that case, it was very likely that this person had a beast spirit pill on him. The three of them suddenly became excited. "Brother Qin, you look at most 18 years old. With such cultivation at this age, which woman wouldn't like you?" The woman's eyes flashed and she giggled. "Ah." The Wolf King was astonished. "Is this a confession?" he asked playfully. The woman smiled and said, "If you say so, then so be it." The Wolf King was in a daze. It had always been shameless, but at this moment, it did not know how to answer. It seemed that even it could not do anything when faced with a thick-skinned woman. The woman continued, "Since the misunderstanding has been resolved, Brother Qin, why don't you come with us to the tribe?" Qin Feiyang's heart skipped a beat. Weren't these two people too enthusiastic? Forget it, lest there be any more misunderstandings. See you later. After Qin Feiyang finished speaking, he used the wind-riding steps and sped forward. Seeing this, the tall young man's face showed a touch of hostility, and he snorted coldly, "You really don't want face." The woman said, "He must have a lot of treasures on him. If we can get them, our strength will definitely improve a lot in a short time." The short young man's heart was excited, and he could not wait to say, "Then what are we waiting for? Let's join hands and kill them now." Don't act rashly. That man's strength is not simple. And that wolf, it gives me a feeling that it is stronger than that man. Looking at the direction they are going, they should pass by our tribe. Let's take a shortcut back, catch up with them, and set up an ambush in advance. The tall young man said. Lu Zhou and the other two nodded. In the jungle ahead. Qin Feiyang said in a deep voice, "White-eyed wolf, pay attention to the surrounding movements." What? Wolf King was surprised. Qin Feiyang said, "Those three have ulterior motives, what should they be plotting?" Just them. Wolf King was disdainful. Qin Feiyang said, "Don't look down on anyone. There were also ferocious beasts in the jungle. But their strength was not too strong, basically between martial ancestor and battle king. They did not pose much of a threat to Qin Feiyang and Wolf King." About an hour later, a man and a wolf finally walked out of the jungle. A huge mountain stronghold entered their line of sight. The village was made up of hundreds of houses of various sizes. It covered an area of about 1 mile, and was backed by a snow mountain more than 100 feet high. Those houses were all built with wood, and the roofs were covered with thick snow. Some houses had smoke rising from their chimneys. On the snowy ground, there were many children, laughing and playing non-stop, having a lot of fun. Around the village, there was a row of fences more than 3 meters high. Every distance, there was a strong man guarding to prevent ferocious beasts from breaking into the village. On both sides of the village's gate, there were 4 strong men guarding, all with the strength of a 1-star battle king. Above the gate, there was a wide wooden sign, with 4 big words engraved on it. Lu Tribe. Qin Feiyang glanced at the tribe and strode over. Wolf King suddenly said, "That short young man just now seemed to be called Lu Zhou, could he be from this tribe?" Qin Feiyang immediately stopped, glanced at the Lu tribe, and turned to leave. Boom! However, at this time, one figure after another jumped out from under the accumulated snow all around. There were more than 30 people. There were men and women, old and young. Some were holding sharp blades, some were holding big iron bows, and without exception, they all had an unfriendly expression. Qin Feiyang glanced at them one by one. The strength of these people was even stronger than the 4 guards at the gate of the tribe. However, he did not find any battle emperors. Suddenly, Qin Feiyang's gaze locked onto a certain place. There stood 2 men and a woman, it was Lu Zhou and the other 2 people he met before. Why is this? Qin Feiyang frowned. Why? Lu Zhou sneered, if it wasn't for you, would that cheetah have been able to escape? So you must give compensation. Qin Feiyang glanced at everyone and said indifferently, I think the compensation is just a cover. What you really want is the Qinkun bag on me, right? Yeah. Lu Zhou and the other 2 looked at each other, their eyes filled with surprise. How did he know? Huh, the tall young man laughed and said, since you already know, then hand it over. The woman followed, as long as you hand it over, we'll let you go. Qin Feiyang said, if I don't hand it over, will you kill me? You're very smart, so you'd better be sensible. Although you're very strong, there are many people stronger than you in the Lu tribe. You can't beat us. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.